This is the DAF Media Pregame Report. Under the bright lights of Darien High School Stadium Field, it's varsity football between two defending state champions. Tonight, the Maloney Spartans and the Darien Blue Wave will go to battle. And a pleasant good evening, everybody. Braden Shank joined alongside me, my color analyst, Michael Mercine. And Michael, this is the premier game of the regular season for Darien. They come in 1-1, Maloney 2-0. What do you think we're going to see in this one tonight?
I think we're going to see a lot of really high-level play. Both Maloney and Darien have big chips on their shoulders coming into this game. It's the battle of two state champions, as you said. And so both teams are coming in. They're trying to prove themselves against the other. There's a great energy here tonight, and I think we're ready for some really good football.
We're now going to hop into our pregame report. First starting, we're going to take a look back at last week's game for Darien, where they took on the Bridgeport Central Hilltoppers, and here are the highlights from that game. Wilson, Corney, and Dahl in the backfield. Dahl will hand it off to Wilson. He will dive and score. Touchdown, Darien. Huddy right there. As now Dahl will drop back. Over the middle, completes the pass to Picorni. Brady Picorni's off to the races. He's on the near side. The 20 takes it up the middle. He's still loose, and Brady Picorni will score. Touchdown, Darien. Brady Picorni, the 48-yard reception. And Darien goes up 13-0 by Will Bonner. Dahl will field it, take it to his left. Simeon Dahl, short pass over the middle, and he finds Trevor Hergen for the touchdown. Dahl to Hergen, and Darien goes up 20-0. The entire game in St. Joe's last week.
Oh, absolutely. I told you, I said last week that it
Dahl downfield, and he finds McMullen, and he will score. Isaac McMullen with the touchdown grab. His first on the season, and Darien continues to add to the lead. We've got a lot more time as Dahl will throw this one complete to McGuckin. Briggs McGuckin, he's making a rush for the end zone, leaps, and he will score. Briggs McGuckin with the touchdown, and Darien adds to the lead once again. So Dahl will be in the backfield once again, hands it off to Jake Wilson. Wilson will go right up the middle. He is gone, and a touchdown for Darien. Jake Wilson found the light of day, and Darien Blue Wave will go up 39-0. Darien will now have the second and 2, hands it off once again to Jake Wilson. Wilson's now going to find a hole, take it to the near side, and Wilson is off to the races, and he will score. Jake Wilson, his third touchdown on the game. Darien will move into victory formation. Deckman Cunningham will take the knee, and Darien will celebrate victory. Victorious in this one, 47-0 will be our final. A hard-fought game from Darien. They went up 33-0 in the first quarter and absolutely kept the pedal to the metal up until the end. And they will get their first win on the 2022 campaign. So as you just saw right there, Darien, the impressive win against Bridgeport Central last week, 47-0. Mercine, what stuck out to you in that one?
Darien looked dominant. And more than dominant, they also just looked like they were gelling better. Dahl was getting passes into really tight spaces, and Darien was running really well. I think this team looks like a completely different team than it did when it played against St. Joe's, and let's hope it can carry that momentum into this game and play like the team it did play as against Central.
So that was Darien last week. Now moving over to the Maloney Spartans side. They took the trip to Simsbury last week and took down the Trojans 35-13. That was a game that the offense exploded on. Quarterback Kyle Valentine, 8 for 8 on his first 8 passes, 100+ yards in the first 2 drives. Plus then you throw a punt return from Marquise Ward. What did you see out of the Spartans in week 2?
They also look dominant. I mean, I don't want to use the word dominant twice, but this really is the game between two dominant teams. And Maloney looked dominant. They showed they are a fast team, and they're a team that can play on their toes. They can, when plays break down, they can run, or they can make short passes and get lots of yards after the catch. So, Maloney also shows like they're going to be creative, and they're going to bring a lot of new and interesting challenges that Darien might have not seen yet this season.
So that was week 2, and we're going to talk about some key players now in this one. First, starting with Darien's two Division III commits. James Tom committed to Tufts University, Jack Barber, Williams College. This is a Darien team, Michael, very inexperienced compared to past teams. What is the impact that this Darien team has having players like Barber and Tom really affecting both sides of the ball?
Well, I always think that both the offensive line and defensive line, that's called the trenches, right? And I think these two guys, they are leaders in the trenches. Because of that, I think they make the players around them better. They force, better rushes, better coverage, better defense, right? And so Tom, he's going to be an anchor on that offensive line. And Barber, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with against Maloney. Kyle Valentine's going to be evading Barber all day, and it's going to come down to the rest of the defensive line to help plug holes, to help stop Kyle Valentine, and to help Barber chase down Valentine.
You mentioned Kyle Valentine. He's our Maloney player to watch in this one. What do you have on Kyle's game?
He's fast, and he's an interesting quarterback. He's creative with the ball, as I said, and he can go at the short pass, utilize his very fast receivers, or he's a pretty good runner. He's an aggressive runner too. He's going to make use of the spread offense that Maloney uses, and he's going to run up these running lanes, and he's going to abuse Darien defenses. He's going to find mistakes, and he's going to abuse them.
So Kyle Valentine, the quarterback for Maloney, he will be anchoring the offense of the Spartans. And for Darien, they have a defender you got to watch out for, senior captain Leighton Reeser. And what do you have for us on Leighton?
Well, Leighton's really Valentine's main counter. As I said, the defensive line's going to be very important in pressuring Valentine, but Maloney's offense plays very spread out. That means that they're going to be really thin in the box. And so Reeser is going to be one of the players that is instrumental in stopping Valentine from escaping the pocket and running up these lanes. He's going to have to block. He's going to have to prevent Valentine from finding open ground and getting out for a large gain.
Leighton, a senior, he brings a ton of veteranship with him in the seniority, something that Darien really likes to see. And now we're going to shift the ball back to Maloney and really their X factor. They've been able to score at any time, it felt like, this season. In the first 2 games, 7 offensive touchdowns, 3 defensive touchdowns, and 2 special teams touchdowns, Michael Mercine. I mean, the Spartans they're really an unstoppable team. They can beat you on the offense, the defense, the special teams, anything else in between. What do you have for us on that front?
Well, they're creative and they're quick. And when you have a fast team, when you have a smart team, you have a team that can exploit defensive mistakes. They may have gone against 2 slightly easier opponents, some would say easier than St. Joseph, but they still were able to exploit any mistake they found and turn it into a touchdown on any side of the ball. Like you said, special teams, defense, they exploit those mistakes too, and they can even turn those into touchdowns. And that tells you just how smart of a team Maloney is.
They definitely are. The 3 guys you got to watch out for. We mentioned Kyle Valentine. Look out for wide receiver Gonzalez, and you got to look out for their running back as well, and number 24, Josh Boganski. Those 3 will be really anchoring the Maloney offense. But there's more importance on this game than in past years, Michael, and that is given the new SEAC classes. You see on your screen the Class L, new for this year, realigned it, made it smaller. But Class L is really this powerhouse conference. 8 playoff teams from a year ago, and not 1, but 2 defending state champions, and they're on the field tonight.
It really is a super conference. There's nothing more to it. You have the traditional big players like Darien and New Canaan, and you also have Maloney, who's been proving dominant. And I think, Class L is going to be where you see teams that show that they have what it takes to be good for a while, regardless of who's playing. And so that's going to come down to coaching staffs as well.
And that's the thing, is you got those 2, then you throw on New Canaan, St. Joseph, Bristol Central, Hull, Shelton, so many more that it could just go down the list. It's going to be a dogfight come December in the state playoffs, and one that is going to be interesting to watch.
Absolutely.
But our final takes here before we send you off to the kickoff. Keys to the game, what do you got for us on those?
So I think that, Maloney, they need to challenge the secondary. As I said, Maloney has fast receivers, and therefore they're going to be able to widen up out in coverage, and they're going to be able to get the ball and really hammer that secondary. But on that, they're going to have to play fast. Darien, they're a large and athletic team. Maloney's going to need to be able to avoid these Darien players and also wear them down. And finally, keep Darien on its toes. Maloney has a lot of weapons on the offense, and because of that, they need to keep Darien split. They need to not allow Darien to focus on whatever's working. They have 2 running backs, 2 very good receivers, and a mobile quarterback. If you can mix in running, passing, that's going to really help you wear down Darien's defense and keep them guessing. And when you keep them guessing, they hesitate, and that's where Maloney can strike and can get those touchdowns. For Darien, they need to play confidently. They played like animals, to say it nicely, against Bridgeport Central. And so they need to know that they are the team that can win 47-0. Doesn't matter who the opponent is. Doesn't matter if it's Central. Doesn't matter if it's Maloney. They know that they're a good team, and they need to show that they know they're a good team. They need to be aggressive as well. As I said, Maloney, very fast. That means that you have to force Maloney to be uncomfortable, and that means to play even faster than they are. But they need to stay disciplined. As I said, Maloney runs a very spread offense. This means that there's going to be a lot of open space in the box. And so Darien needs to not commit to a run, not commit to a pass when they aren't sure what Maloney's doing. And so they're going to need to know when to draw the line between blitz and drop back. Finally, they need to outlast Maloney. Darien does have more players playing both ways due to some losses, but they still with their platoon system, they play much less. The individual player plays much less than the Maloney player, and therefore Darien's should be able to go longer and should be able to make a difference in the fourth quarter when Maloney's worn down, when they're tired, and maybe if they've had long runs, they're definitely going to be tired there.
So those are the keys to the game for both sides in this one. The final thing before we send you off to the kickoff, the weather tonight, Michael. It's cold out here, 55 degrees, 13-mile-per-hour winds, 47% humidity, and it's the coldest day we've seen in quite some time here in southwestern Connecticut. How do you think that's going to factor into play?
Oh, I think it's going to show what teams can adjust and what teams can't. I'm looking down at Darien right now, and they all are wearing short sleeves. It doesn't seem like they were ready for a cold game. I'm not seeing any like jackets or anything, so they're going to get cold out on the sideline. Maloney, a lot of them are wearing long sleeves. It seems like they were prepared for this, but it's just going to come down to whichever team was not only ready for the cold, but can play against adversity. I think for the fans might not even be ready, and with this chill in the air, I think it's going to get people jumping, get people moving, get people more excited because they're trying to warm themselves up and cheer their team on.
Well, that's going to do it for the pregame report. We're going to step aside for a bit, and when we return, we have the kickoff between the Maloney Spartans and the Darien Blue Wave on the DAF Media Network. Defending state champions reunite tonight on the DAF Media Network and live here at Darien High School on the stadium field. The Darien Blue Wave, the defending Class Double L champions, will go up against the defending Class L champions, the Maloney Spartans. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody. Braden Shank joined alongside me, Michael Mercine, and you just saw the pregame report. We're now going to get ready for kickoff on this one, but as we get started, we're going to send you down to our field reporter, Cameron McGraw, with more on tonight's matchup.
Thanks, Braden. On the injury front for tonight's game, 3 key players out for Darien: Will Bonner, Liam McBride, and Trevor Herget. Definitely going to be missing them tonight. As for the actual game, we have some big plays that are going to happen. Darien definitely wants to limit Maloney's explosive playability. That's what Maloney's been doing in the past 2 games. Darien's definitely going to want to try to stop that tonight. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Cam, and the teams will now meet at midfield for the coin toss, and it's going to be an exciting one, Michael. Darien, their first blackout of the night. The student section showed up. What is the atmosphere like here at Darien High School?
It's electric. You've already got flower going. People are really excited for this game. You got people going from the fences to the bleachers, and I think everyone knows that this is going to be a game. This is going to be a dogfight, and they're here to watch this dogfight. Even Maloney, they've got a good showing from the fans, and everybody here seems excited, and everybody knows that they're about to see a really good football game, and they're excited for that.
So Maloney, they're located out of Meriden, Connecticut, about an hour's drive up, looking at close to the 54-mile range, so a couple faithfuls made the trip down, but Darien, they will be receiving the opening kickoff. Maloney in their in their road white jerseys, Darien in their home blacks, and now they will huddle up their squads. And Michael, Darien, they lost opening week to St. Joseph. They beat Bridgeport Central last week. What has been the mentality for the team this entire week, knowing they've got one of the best teams in the state, Maloney, coming to Darien High School?
The mentality has been to just carry on what they've been doing well, right? They saw themselves do a lot of things right against Bridgeport Central, and they saw themselves do a lot of things wrong against St. Joe's. And so Darien is coming into this knowing that they need to do the right things right and do the wrong things, not do the wrong things at all. And I know that's simple, but that comes to things like minimizing mistakes. That comes to things like playing in stronger coverage. Darien knows that this is going to be a very fast Maloney team, and they haven't been playing against a fast team. So while they need to do what works, they also are going to need to innovate a little bit, and I think that's where Darien might have an adjustment period in this first half.
It's definitely going to be interesting. Of course, it's played over 4 quarters. You can lose 1 quarter, still come back and play, but Maloney has not given up a single point in second half play, and Darien has not scored a single point in second half play, so it's going to be interesting. We're now going to send you down to the renowned DHS band, led by director Jonathan Grauer, who will be performing the Star Spangled Banner on this Friday night here in southwestern Connecticut.
Everybody please rise to honor America as the Darien High School Band, under the leadership of Jonathan Grauer, performs our national anthem. Gentlemen, please remove your hats.
I think the crowd showed us we are ready for some football tonight.
The oldest tradition of Darien High School, or at least I think so, the powder by the student section, the blackout, they're covered in white, and we are ready for some football here at Darien High School.
And you know, what I was saying before can't even really, do a justice to how excited they are. You can just hear in the background of our microphones, you can hear the chants. Everybody is ready, everybody's amped up. It looks like snow just fell over the student section, and they're ready to go. Looks like Darien's ready to go. Looks like Maloney's ready to go, and now they're just forming up, getting ready for kickoff as this fog of flour comes up over this field.
Home field advantage is huge in any high school sport, but this atmosphere that Darien has created is truly spectacular. I mean, you have the fans with the flower, Darien cheering their team on, huddling up. I mean, this feels like a playoff atmosphere, but it's only week 3.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it being Friday Night Lights does that, right? Darien gets 2 Friday night home games this year. Maloney and Greenwich, both very big games. Both games that we're going to be expecting a huge turnout, and both games where everybody's going to be excited. Maloney knows they're in for a game. Darien knows they're in for a game. And further on, Greenwich is going to know they're in for a game, and Darien's going to be playing their heart out, and everyone's going to be ready.
And now we're going to turn it to the Maloney kicker, Josh Scaramuzzo, and he will kick it away.
Taking care of the kicking chores for Maloney.
And he will have to huddle up his Maloney Spartans. The hour bus ride, they got here bright and early, but they are ready to battle the Darien Blue Wave. Scaramuzzo will set his sights. Here's the run-up, and we are underway on Friday Night Lights. Wilson will watch this one go out of bounds, and we will see a flag on the opening kick. Unfortunately, can't do that.
No, you cannot do that. It's not a punt, unfortunately, for Scaramuzzo. And these are mistakes you can't make, right? These are things that Maloney has to correct, because in a fight of 2 teams that seem very evenly matched, by pushing the team all the way up to the 35 on a kickoff, you can't give Darien that starting position. It gives Darien a heads up. It gives Darien there's almost a boost of confidence, because if Maloney's giving them yards already, how's the game going to go?
That is definitely indeed interesting. So Darien will now take over on the 35-yard line. Simeon Dahl will be the quarterback for Darien. Once again, in motion is Johnson, but he'll hand it off to Jake Wilson, and Wilson will pound his way up to the 40-yard line, a gain of 5. And you got to like to see the game that Jake had last week against Bridgeport Central. 3 touchdowns at about, I'm trying to find it, 215 yards.
Oh, sounds
in
great.
one game alone is crazy for Jake Wilson. and it's actually 158, my apologies, but still 158 yards is pretty solid in one game, and that is what Jake Wilson did as he takes the first rush there for Darien.
Yeah, and it's just indicative of how good a runner he is.
Right back to Wilson. He is stopped immediately. A big stop by number 74, Howard Stedford. And that is a guy you got to watch out for. One of the only returning linemen for Maloney, and he takes Wilson back for the loss of 1.
Yeah, even in that replay, you see Wilson's still pumping his legs. He's still trying to get every extra yard, even when he's locked up. That's a really good job by Wilson. It shows the fight he has, and it also shows the type of runner he is. He's consistent. He tries to get yards after hits, and that was a really good play, even if it was a tackle for a loss.
Stedford's a big guy, 6'3", 220, and he just owned Jake Wilson on that one. Now Dahl will take his first attempt on the passing game. Will scramble with it. Get it off the line drive, caught by Will Johnson, and he is picked up in the air, stopped. But Darien will be getting the first down on it.
Yeah, and I've been talking about Kyle Valentine, who we haven't seen yet being a mobile quarterback, but we have to remember, Dahl can throw as well. That was a great throw on the move, and Johnson did a good job of getting the ball and getting across the plane for the first down and getting that first down.
Now, how about this for effectiveness? Will Johnson, that's his 4th reception on the season. That's the fourth first down that he has gotten for Darien. So he's the big guy that Darien likes to go to. As Wilson will now get the handoff on the far side, and will fall just short of the 50-yard line. But again, Darien pounding the running game early in this one.
Darien's got a good pace going here. There's not a lot of There's not a lot of breaks in between the plays. Only one pass, but they've still mixed up the plays a little bit. And again, hopefully Maloney is going to be on their toes. But Darien looks like they are able to march today.
They definitely will. It'll be interesting if they can keep this up for all the quarters. Dahl will now drop back and field it. Being chased down, being chased to the near side. He will stay with it and move it up to the 45-yard line. A nice run from Simeon Dahl.
Just short of the first down, but that's the type of run you want to see out of your quarterback. Staying cool, staying calm. He didn't lower his head. He just kept going. He kept on a good, solid run, and he actually did get the first down.
He did.
Seems like the refs were generous.
He did indeed. And Darien is now going to keep the chains moving. And that's something Dahl saw a hole on it, took advantage of it. He was being pressured by that Maloney defensive line. That's going to be something you have to watch all game. Maloney's got the bigger offensive or defensive line, but it's going to be interesting how Dahl can handle himself as Wilson will take the handoff and be stopped almost immediately by number 50, Rafael Rodriguez. Take another look at it. The handoff to Wilson. He tried to go right up the middle, but Rodriguez and Moore were right there to stop him.
Yeah, that's one of those plays where you don't know if it's a miscommunication with the line or if Wilson just went to the wrong hole, but it's one of those plays that defense makes a heads-up play. They get where they need to go. They recognize the run, and they stop.
So it's now 2nd and 10. Dahl throws this one, and it is complete to number 80, I believe, in Connor Lane. He got pushed back a bit, but a nice catch by Lane. You take another look at it, a big hit from Vasquez.
And watch Lane here. He's still, like I said with Wilson, he's still pumping his legs. Even when he's wrapped up, he's still trying to get the extra yards. That shows the fight that Darien has. They're going, they're fighting, they're kicking, they're screaming for every extra yard so far. And they look good.
They do indeed. 3rd and 4 now on the 38-yard line. This will be the 8th play for Darien in this opening drive, and they're going to try to tire out this Maloney defense. 3rd and 4. Dahl will hand it off to Wilson, who will charge it ahead, but be stopped for a gain of none. Now this is where things get interesting. Darien without their punter, Trevor Herget, but they're going to keep the offense on the field. Simeon Dahl and Wilson in the backfield.
I like this play. Darien's been moving quickly. They've been marching well. And so keeping them out on the – when you're in an intermediate distance here, you don't necessarily want to kick the field goal. You don't necessarily want to punt. I think this is a pretty good distance to keep going for it on 4th down.
So Darien will take the 4th and 4 and go for it. The trips receivers on the far side. Dahl drops back, throws it complete to Lane, and he will fall short. Zakai Moore with the tackle and a big momentum boost for the Spartans.
I think there you have Dahl. He was being rushed by defenders. He could have maybe taken a second and waited for a defender or for a receiver open further downfield. But that's one of those situations where he gets the ball out quickly because that's what he's had to do for the last few games. And it's a short pass. It doesn't get you what you need to do, but it's still a solid pass.
So now the Maloney Spartans will come out for their first time on the offense. They will be on their own 39-yard line. Their quarterback, Kyle Valentine, will be taking over. Accompanying him to his right, Josh Boganski, the All-State second-teamer a season ago. And they will go straight to Boganski on the jet sweep. Flag has been thrown.
Josh Boganski.
And they're going to call holding on the Spartans, so that one's coming back.
Watch Boganski here. Even with defenders coming up right behind him, he's fast. And he was almost able to turn the edge there. But Darien, good at chasing down running backs. That's for sure.
So holding on Maloney. That will move him back 5 yards, and they will try again.
Holding against the Spartans.
Actually, my apologies, 10 yards.
10 yards,
on that
yeah.
one. Still got to memorize those. But they will try the 1st and 20 yet again.
So already 2 penalties for Maloney. This is not what you want to see if you're Coach Fitzpatrick.
Definitely not. The 8th-year head coach, Kevin Frederick, is going to have to calm his guys down. Again, the long bus ride, but you can't be giving up 15 penalty yards in the first 6 minutes. And now they were looking for the call on Brennan, did not get it.
And if you saw Darien jumping there, they're playing aggressive. They're playing, they know that Valentine's fast, and they're playing to take him down.
So timeout taken by head coach Kevin Frederick and Maloney. You could tell they were trying to get Darien to jump off sides. They thought Brennan might have jumped, but nonetheless, they will try the 1st and 20 when we return on the DAF Media Network. We're back on the DAF Media Network. Valentine will drop back, throw this one, and incomplete. He was looking for Vasquez, but just past his reach. And that is big right there, Michael Mercine. We mentioned in the open, but Valentine went 8 for 8 to start the Simsbury game. So if you're Darien, you got to like to see him missing the first pass that he takes.
Yeah, and if you're Maloney, you got to be kicking yourself there. If you're Vasquez especially, because that ball was a very well thrown ball by Valentine, and it just went right off the hands of Vasquez, and you have to make those catches, especially when you're a playmaker like Vasquez is.
In motion is Gonzalez. Dropping back is Valentine. He will throw the screen over to Gonzalez, but just through his hands. And this is an oddity for Maloney. 2 incompletions.
Look at the pressure as well. I mean, Darien is really bringing the heat right now, and they're doing a good job of keeping Maloney on their toes and forcing them to make mistakes.
Gonzalez had a nice game last week. He caught 2 touchdowns for Maloney and drops the first pass he sees there, but now Maloney will try with the trips on the near side. Valentine drops back, throws this one, and that one is caught. Vasquez is off the 20, chasing him down and making a big tackle is number 21, Ryan Gerlamo, but the Spartans pick up some yards.
Just like I said, you could have a penalty, you could have 3 not great passes, but when you get that, or 2 not great passes, apologies, but when you get that last pass down, when you play clutch like Maloney can, and like they just showed, that can break a defense's resolve.
Jaden Vasquez, his 3rd reception on the season, and he doubles his yards total. Throws this one in the corner of the end zone and just through the arms of number 20 for Johnson. You take another look at it, Johnson, if he could have caught it, would have beat Pokorny, and that's the other thing. Brady Pokorny playing 2 ways for the first time tonight. Normally a wide receiver, but some injuries have put him in a position. He's playing a defensive back, and he plays the good pressure on Maloney right there. Now Valentine will hand it off to Boganski. Boganski chugging up the middle, and he will move it to the 5-yard line.
Boganski up the middle.
And he found no open grass there. If you watch again,
Gains 5, third down, goal from
defense
the
did a
5.
very good job of collapsing in on the hole and stopping Bagansky. He got a few yards, but a few yards isn't going to help you in a 3rd and goal situation.
So it's 3rd and goal for the Spartans. That was, believe it or not, their first rush play recorded on the stat sheet. First one was the holding, of course, called.
Oh, true, yeah.
Throws this one, and just over the head of number 3, Gonzalez. Josiah Gonzalez, the intended receiver, looking to his favorite target, and just a bit high on that one.
Valentine looks spooked. I know it's a little early to say that, but he started off his first few passes. They were tight, they were nice, but they were drops. And now he's throwing far on slightly lighter pressure from the defense. I don't know if he's finally realizing just how tall Jack Barber is, and just what made Williams want him to play for them.
Definitely, and Maloney will keep the offense on the field. 4th and 5. They're going for it. Valentine throws this one back to the same corner, looking for Gonzalez, and it's incomplete. Darien's defense will prevail, and the 2nd turnover on downs.
I believe,
and the flag.
Yeah, there's a flag down.
That's going to be
pass interference. You cannot do that.
It's a late call by the referee. He signaled the incompletion, then threw the flag. But the pass interference. Where are they going, though? 4th and 5? I mean,
it might be automatic first down.
I don't think so. But it's... Because normally in high school, I think it's a 15-yard penalty, so I would assume they would get... You are right. They are going to get the automatic first, I think. No, they're still going to keep it to 4th.
That's an interesting decision because it allows Darien to be more aggressive in its coverage.
So Maloney will try again now. The 4th down. They're going to hand it off to Boganski. Chugging it up the middle. Darien says he's short, and he is.
That's an incredible stop by the Darien defense, and it just goes to show you how ready Darien is. Boganski, he's been touted as their sort of running machine, and Darien has stopped him. Darien has not allowed more than a few yards so far this drive, and it's not to use a cliche football word, but that's a very good example of a bend don't break football defense. Darien, even at the goal line, they managed to make that goal line stand, even after going to getting 3rd and 20 and being upset. That didn't slow them down. That didn't deject them. They just came back up. They made the stop, and that just put life back into this Darien team and kind of into the stands as well. Not that much was lost.
So Simeon Dahl will come back out on the field for Darien. Low snap. He'll hand it off to Jake Wilson. Wilson's going to find a hole and move it up to about the 7-yard line, but Darien is starting, I believe, on their own 4, we'll call it.
Yeah, you're
maybe 3.
Dangerous territory. That's what it is.
Couldn't have said it better. Dangerous territory for Darien. And
pass interference, it's no longer
like we said, Maloney's good at capitalizing on mistakes. And so Darien, if you're Darien, you have to know that, and you have to be careful of that safety because, as we've seen, their defense could score points too.
So Darien, now the bad snap there. Wilson will jump on it, and they're going to take him down at the 2-yard line. So almost chaos for Darien. Almost bad chaos nonetheless, still chaos. But Wilson does a good job to pounce on it and corral the ball.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Wilson is a righty, right?
I would think so.
It looked like he was carrying the ball in his left hand. I haven't seen him do that before. And I mean, I'm not sure if that's what caused the fumble. The play design just had him in an uncomfortable position. But that ball just slipped right out of his hands. And, that's a mistake he's very lucky that he could recover from.
Definitely. I mean, it definitely is a good recovery from Wilson. And now Darien will try their luck on the 3rd and 9 deep in their own territory.
I believe this is Darien's first 3rd and long.
Throws this one and through the hands of number 2, Dante Kelly, and that would have been bad for Darien. Kelly had a pick 6 last week against Simsbury, as well as I think he had one in the Week 1 game against East Hartford that was called back. So that's the guy you don't want to see the ball in his hands, especially if you're the offense.
Absolutely not, and that sort of shows that in these opening drives, Maloney has missed chances. A goal line fumble is a problem, right? And now dropping an interception, dropping passes. Even when they got the long play, they couldn't wrap it up.
So the punt from Somerville. This one will take a bounce. Fielding it is Gonzalez. He's going to be out on his own on the 30-yard line. On the far side with it. Gonzalez has a hole. And he will be taken out of bounds, but he will set up a red zone opportunity for the Maloney Spartans.
This is the last thing you want if you're Darien. Not just because, of course, better field position for Maloney is bad for Darien, but also, how many times can you be forced into a consecutive goal line situation and also not be able to convert. If you give Maloney more chances at the goal line, what's going to happen is they're going to eventually do something right. Somebody's going to make a mistake on this defense if you keep letting them get this close to the goal, and that's when things are going to go wrong.
So Maloney will now take back over on the offense on the 14-yard line. Golden opportunity for the Spartans to get potentially our first score of the ball game. Valentine will have the receivers on the far side. Hands it off to Boganski. And Boganski will be stopped at the 14-yard line.
That's just a beautiful stop. That's a perfect example of the type of playmakers that Darien has. And with J.D. Brennan on that tackle, I emphasized Leighton Reeser, but I think it would be unfair to not also say, Brennan looks like he's gonna have a good game, and he's gonna be important to this offense as well. And he just showed what he has to offer.
J.D. Brennan, the first-year starter for Darien, and he's really made an impact. Had a sack last week against Bridgeport Central. He's a guy you got to watch out for. Valentine throws this one into the end zone, and it is caught for the touchdown. Number 2, Dante Kelly. And the Spartans go up 6-0.
That was a beautiful catch, to say the least. Collins was not in a favorable position. I actually thought that was going to be an interception. But unfortunately, Picorni just wasn't able to get up high enough. And he wasn't able to stop that. That was a beautiful pass from Valentine and a wonderful catch. And that's how you score points.
Maloney, they knows Picorni is not usually a defender. Forced to play the position, threw it right to their guy, and Dante Kelly. And the Spartans will now look to go up 7-0, and Scaramuzzo splits the uprights. 7-0 Maloney.
Also, I would assume that Picorni's not necessarily practicing jumping, especially when he's playing lacrosse. So he wasn't necessarily used to going up into coverage like that, and especially when mimicking it, but you can't see. Especially when he's putting his hand up behind him, that's just a play that, especially against an athletic receiver like that, you really can't win.
Dante Kelly, he's the big playmaker for Maloney. 3 receiving touchdowns. Well, I know that, but Kelly in particular, 3 big catches on this one. That was about a 14-yard game, but he has caught a 37, a 40, and a 67-yard touchdown. And now that's a 4th reception touchdown for Dante Kelly.
Just goes to show, it goes to show what Maloney can do, right? And like I said, there's a lot of playmakers. Every player, or a lot of the players on this team, are really good. That's obvious. That's an understatement, I guess. But Maloney, it's a team of playmakers. Now, they can back themselves into situations like that 3rd and 20, but then they can come back. They can capitalize on mistakes. They are good at punishing teams that make mistakes, and so Darien just can't make mistakes.
Scaramuzzo with the run up. He'll boot it away after the touchdown. Fielded at the 10-yard line. This will be Wilson. Has some space to him. Flags have been thrown. Wilson's still up before he will be taken down at the 35-yard line. We got to check those flags, though.
Yeah, it looked like there was could not see who that was, but a Darien player was taken down. You can't do that. And so I'm not sure if it's something with special teams that's causing penalties, but again, another penalty from Maloney.
Helmet-to-helmet contact called on the blue wave, so that's going to push him back a couple yards.
Huh.
Personal foul, helmet-to-helmet collision. And Darien will now be forced to set up on their own 11-yard line.
Helmet-to-helmet contact is the call.
I think it was before that. I don't think.
Yeah, but I think that was the contact. I think that was the contact that caused it, unless it was Wilson. But I don't
flags
believe
were already
so.
thrown on that.
Yeah, flags were already thrown. And even there, that's helmet-to-helmet. But who knows? The reason the officials are paid and we aren't.
Reason they're what?
There's a reason the officials are paid and we aren't.
They're also doing a job out
That's
there.
what I'm saying. It's their job.
Wilson will rush it for no gain. Will now be a 2nd and 10. You also could say they're getting paid to make calls out there.
Well, yeah, but that's why they're getting. I thought just saying that's why they're getting paid. That makes sense. Anyway,
that's besides the point.
Yeah.
3 minutes 40 seconds left in the opening quarter. 2nd and 10 for Darien on their own 11-yard line. An offense that had a great first drive. 8 plays, just couldn't convert on that 4th down. Second drive, not so great. The 3 and out, and now they're going to try their luck on the third time.
Sort of a change of fortunes after that, after that gift of the good field position to start the game. Now they've had 2. Now they've been back in a corner for these last 2 drives.
Dahl will drop back. He's just going to take it right up the middle, spin around, and be brought down at the 20-yard line. But a great job by Simeon to charge it ahead.
I mean, look at him. He's running with no fear here. He's cutting. He's got his head up. He looks like he knows he was going to have to be on the move, and he was ready for it. And he's looking great.
Entering play, Dahl, 8 carries for 29 yards. That's going to be a false start. Or not a false start, offsides, my apologies, on Maloney.
Mistakes.
So that will give Darien the first down. First time since their opening drive that they will see a first down. But Darien's going to look to capitalize now on their 24-yard line.
Yeah, and if you're Darien right now, you just want to get – you don't even need the first down, right? You just want to shorten the distance to that next stick. Darien, in the first drive, they were marching really well because they didn't have second and third very long plays.
Hands it off to Wilson. Wilson will power it forward and will be stopped just shy of the 30-yard line.
And handing it Wilson, as I said, it's a great way to chip off small amounts of yards and get yourself pushing well.
So Darien now the 2nd and 6. Going quick on it. Dahl will keep it himself. Simeon Dahl. He will be taken down by Gonzalez, but not before he picks up the first down.
Who's the running back? Because honestly, it looks like Dahl's been getting the same amount of yards as Wilson right now. And it shows just how versatile this offense is because Wilson's just slamming through this defensive line, and Dahl doing the exact opposite. He's playing slippery. He's getting around. He's getting around the end. And so Maloney is on its toes, and especially when Dahl and Wilson are running well, that dual threat is really hard to balance.
So that was part of the reason that Darien team, and Dahl will drop back. He's going to try to find a receiver. Taking it to the near side, will just throw it off. Oh, watch out, cheerleaders. But anyways, that was a big part of why Darien was so dominant last year. Was Miles Drake was the ultimate versatile quarterback. He could throw the long ball, or he could keep it himself and rush. And Dahl has struggled in the first 2 games to really get those rushing yards, so it's good to see Simeon using his legs in the early goings in this one.
Absolutely. I think he's realizing that he doesn't need to just roll out and throw, that he can make use of his legs further than just behind the line of scrimmage. And maybe it's the Coach Forget's school of mobile quarterbacks, but he looks good now.
Dahl will hand it off to Wilson. Wilson will full steam ahead, take it to the 44-yard line. I mean, wouldn't it make sense, though, if Forget was more of a defensive factory, considering he was a defensive coordinator for a while?
Well, of course, I'm just more saying it is Forget's ship, so when he's the captain, he's going to get all the credit, right? I'm not going to speak to who specifically is, helping Simeon overcome some challenges in the backfield. He looks great tonight, and that's one thing I can say for certain.
Dahl now, he's looking for a receiver. Great job by the offensive line to buy him all the time in the world. He will rush it past the 50 and the first down. Simeon Dahl has time to write a novel and picks up the first down.
Oh, absolutely. He could have wrote a book about how nobody was open right then, and he still would have gotten away. Excellent play by the offensive line, and also there wasn't much hustle there by Maloney, and I think, that's one of the things that I say mistakes, but also you need to hustle. It's a football game. If the quarterback is there, the number 80, he should have been running right after.
And that's the thing, is you love to see the dedication from your quarterback. Knows that he's in trouble, put himself on the line, rush it up, get the first down, and for the 6th play of this drive, Darien rushes the ball.
Absolutely. And he saw nobody was rushing him, and so he was smart. He took his time. That was a great play.
Screen pass over to McMullen. It's complete. Isaac will be taken down. Flag will be thrown, though.
Unsure what that flag was for. It looks like a player may have come in late. Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be on, I believe that's going to be on somebody for a late hit. Unless they pick it up.
And they're going to call it face mask on the Spartans. The penalties have killed the Spartans so far in the early goings, up to 20 penalty yards, at least that I can remember.
More than that with the kickoff. Yeah, they've been gifting. I just said, turn of fortune for Darien. But they've been gifted first downs. Not necessarily first down.
And this one now, Dahl will keep it himself. Flag will be thrown. And Simeon will be taken out for a gain of 1.
Looked
that
like
is coming back.
Yeah.
Probably.
Unsure of who that calls on. I believe the flag might have gone down before the replay started, and the ref was just making up his mind there.
It looked like maybe 73. Austin Enner could have potentially got the holding on him, but nonetheless, the clock will keep on ticking, and Darien will be set back to their own 45-yard line.
Looks like Darien likes to just give gifts right back. You know, I think for this first quarter, now that it comes to a close, it's sort of been categorized by some mistakes, and we're just going to have to see which team is better at, you know, capitalizing on these mistakes and who's going to play to win.
So we are through the first 12 minutes in this one. Maloney with the 7-0 advantage. We're now going to send you back down to our field reporter, Cameron McGraw, with his takes on the first quarter.
You guys mentioned from the outset that these two are two championship teams. We actually had Maloney defeat Windsor 35-21 in the Class L division last year. And then Darien won the state championship in the Class LL division 42-7 against Fairfield Prep. Again, two championship teams playing here today. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Cam, and it's great to see Cam out there working the sidelines, one of the best in the business, Cameron McGraw, and he is just one of our amazing DAF Media volunteers. And let's shout out the rest of our crew while we're at it.
Perfect
Jason
segue.
Bellingham, Eric Bellingham, Liam Tomaszewski, Luke Zerby, Teddy Callery, and of course the amazing Damian Andrew overseeing this entire production. And you can't forget about the two voices you're hearing on your TV screen. I'm Braden Shank, Michael Mercine with you. So glad you could be spending your Friday night with us on the DAF Media Network.
What a Friday night it seems like it's going to be. I mean, just the energy's great. It's mellowed down a little bit between, I mean, just because there's a break in quarters, right? But especially with this slow back and forth that we're getting right now. But, you know, you can still feel, even with a little bit of mellow, there's still that energy. And everyone's ready to erupt for a big play as Dahl takes a snap.
Dahl now drops back. He's scrambling. Pass downfield. He's looking for Johnson. And incomplete. Great defense by Josiah Gonzalez. And Will Johnson comes up shorthanded.
That's one of those plays where that's incredible coverage. I mean, Johnson had his hands in the right position. Dahl, that was a beautiful throw. And Gonzalez comes up, puts his hand right where he needs to. And that's a no-win situation when you're Dahl and Johnson.
Dahl was looking for it all, and one of the few passes he's had on this drive. But Darien will now retreat to the 2nd and 17 on the 45-yard line on play number 9 of the drive. In motion is Wilson. He will go to the line of scrimmage. Dahl fields it now. Pressure's being put on by Ortiz. Dahl pass with middle, caught by Wilson. Great recovery by Jake, but he will be taken up to the 48-yard line. Take another look at it. Ortiz got a hand on Dahl and just kind of dumped it off, but found Jake Wilson.
Yeah, that was a good play by Dahl. Good heads-up football by Dahl, and good job by Wilson to be ready to take the ball. I looked like he was a blocker on that play. I didn't necessarily think that he was supposed to be taking the ball. But again, these teams need to innovate. You know, we've been having very long plays, especially for Darien, and so, you know, they're going to have to get good at innovating and changing things on the fly. And that's just where Dahl comes in and has to be the mastermind of this offense.
3rd and 12 for Darien. Simeon Dahl needs something here. Drops back. And he is being pressured. Will fire a bullet just over the head of Briggs McGuckin.
Does he have eyes on the back of his head? Like, both those defenders were right behind Dahl, and he does a great job of getting rid of the ball while he's in pressure. And, you know, obviously you don't want 4th and 12, but that's a lot better than a big sack and, you know, potentially a fumble if he hits the ground the wrong way.
Rafael Rodriguez was hot on Dahl's tail in the opening game against East Hartford. Rodriguez had 2 tackles for losses. He was looking at his 3rd for the season. Now Doug Somerville will punt the ball away. Nice spiral punt from Doug, as it will force Gonzalez to let that one go, and Darien will touch it at the 15.
Yeah, good stop by Rupenstein as well. And 2 names you probably haven't heard on the special team so far this year. With Herget out, a lot of people are going to set up. I mean, he fills so many positions. He's a jack of all trades, and so you need a lot of people to fill his trades.
I mean, I wonder where he gets it from. A volleyball player, you got to play 6 positions at once, essentially.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I think so. I probably should know how volleyball works.
Probably should know more about volleyball than I do. I've never called it. I don't know about you.
Of course I called it.
Well, there you go. Then you should probably know.
Maloney will take back over on the offense. 7-0 they lead. Valentine will be joined by Boganski in the backfield.
Out of the shotgun, Valentine.
He will go out of the shotgun on it. Hands it off to Boganski on the sweep.
Boganski tries the right
And
side.
stopped by the Darien defense at the line of scrimmage.
It's a good fake out of the sweep by Valentine. I just think he could have committed to that a little bit more. He sort of just stands staring down number 8, AJ Kelly. I think, you know, if I'm Valentine, I definitely want to pretend I have the ball. I don't want to pretend I have the ball when AJ Kelly's staring me down.
Nope, AJ Kelly, 7 tackles on the season, had 6 against St. Joseph. He's been a big playmaker for Darien on the defense, just a first-year starter, as now they will send the tight end Vargas in motion. Valentine hucks this one just over the head of a jumping Marquise Ward.
That was close. That pass was closer than it had any right to be, in all honesty. Great jump by Ward. A little bit of a high pass by Valentine, but he kept it right out of the range of the Darien secondary. I think very well placed pass by Valentine.
Kyle Valentine taking over for 3-year starter Angel Arch, and he's done a great job so far this year. And it's still only week 3. He's got a whole season ahead of him, as he will go from the shotgun once again. Falling back on it, throws it, fires the bullet, caught by number 6. Pushing his way through to the 40-yard line. And they're going to call the scrum down. I think that's 6 at least. Oh, it's number 9, my apologies. Amir Phillips Feliciano. 9 and 6.
Great fight. Great fight by Feliciano. And, you know, Maloney, like I said, they're a team that likes to make big plays, and especially with players like that, it's no wonder why. Because, you know, if you're a corner and you're coming in on a running back that you think, or on a receiver that you think you've wrapped up, when he keeps fighting, you know, those things that allow you to get a lot of extra yards, and Darien was mindful of that. Did a good stop.
Boganski will now pound the running game and stopped by Darien. You love to see that if you're the Blue Wave. Number 9, Mac McGarren, and Leighton Reeser, our player to watch, making the big stop right there. Boganski ran right into him, 2nd and 10. And Josh Boganski, again, had the big year last year for Maloney. Had 18 touchdowns, close to 2,000 rushing yards, all state second teamer. And this season, kind of a down year for him. Has not found the end zone now in game 3, but that could all change with one big run.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, you know, I said earlier in the game that Maloney needs to keep Darien on their toes, and Darien looks like they're relaxing. They're stopping the run game, and all they have to worry about is the pass game right now.
Send Gonzalez in motion, pass just high of Dante Kelly. They were looking at that screen to go to Kelly, but to no avail.
Just excellent pressure, but I think that was 92 Jack Barber. And Darien looks great. I mean, there's the occasional long play, which, you know, those are going to build up and those could kill you. But the Darien defensive line, the linebackers, they are stopping the run game, and they are making Valentine have to move. They look incredible.
They do indeed, and it's been a job that Jack Barber has played for the past 2 years now, doing a great job on it. Hustling the line is Brennan. Now Kelly's going to try to get a read on Valentine. The bullet pass just low of Phillips, and now will be 4th and 10.
That's what Darien wants. I mean, other than the goal line, has Maloney hit 4th down yet? I don't believe so.
No. This will be their, no, because on their first drive of the game, they had a nice 9-play drive, but didn't face 4th down. Good call.
Well, they faced 4th down at the goal line, but
well, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. But good stop by Darien. Good job paying attention to the deep pass, because they've been beaten on the deep pass on 3rd and long now twice, and so good job paying attention.
Mark Whittington, the sophomore, out to punt the ball. Got 2 to snap it here. Maloney's got to get it off. They do. Whittington being pressured, gets the punt off. And Darien's going to let this one bounce, as will be fielded by Schwind. Schwind being met almost immediately and taken down by number 23, Aiden Vasquez.
Yeah, I mean, I see what Schwind was trying to do when he picked up the ball, not to let the ball roll down towards the 20. But, you know, he has so many defenders coming at him, and it just does not look good. Sorry, let me finish. He has so many defenders coming at him, and there's a lot of pressure on him, and he couldn't get any yards there.
So Schwind will be taken down the 28-yard line is where Darien will start this drive, looking for better fortunes than what they've had so far today. Hands it off to Wilson. Wilson will tumble his way down late. Hit there. Just a little scrum there by is that 78 on the far side?
Yeah, I do not know what happened in the backfield there. It looks like, I don't even know.
76 maybe of
Yeah.
Easterbrook. Yeah,
Easterbrook, he saw his block and he went for it. I mean, I love seeing that.
Yeah, you gotta love to see the fight in your offensive line
absolutely.
like that, taking it all the way past the play.
I was worried there was going to be a penalty, but that the ref knew he had no idea what was going on. And Easterbrook, great block.
Wilson, the charge ahead on it, taken down for a gain of 2. And Maloney's defense has been locked down of Darien so far. With the exception of that opening drive, Darien is not, actually with the exception of 2 drives really, they've had 2 or 3 drives that have been 3 and outs. Maloney's looking to add another one.
Yeah, it seems like Darien's sort of in an all or nothing mode right now. And, now when you're sitting at 3rd and 7, you kind of have to pass. And so Maloney can sort of drop back, but that might give Dahl the time to sit and write another novel in the backfield and get the pass somewhere where he will feel comfortable.
Dahl now back to throw. And that one will be incomplete. Was a good effort there from Arroyo, but not you can't get that one off.
Interesting call throwing a screen. I don't know if that was a called screen or an option, but interesting call by Dahl to throw, or interesting call to throw such a short ball on 3rd and 7. Darien has been running incredibly well, but they still, something about it, they still have a lot of confidence in the run game, clearly, and I'm not sure how much confidence they have in the deep ball.
Again, Doug Somerville with the nice punt, fielded by Gonzalez, and he will fair catch it. Doug on the taller side of this Darien team, coming in at 6'3", using the leg on that one, and he just sends a beautiful spiral up in the air.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've said more than once already that, this game's going to be about teams making adjustments. Talk about an adjustment. I'm going to be honest, Doug Somerville's first punt was not very good, and I was a little bit worried. But these last 2 punts, they've been high, they've been far, they've looked really good, and he's done a very good job of adjusting after that first punt and delivering 2 pretty good punts.
Well, at least you were nice about it.
Oh, of course. Nice about everything.
Valentine will go out of the shotgun. We'll check over for the new play. Boganski will be joining him in the backfield. Trips on the far side. Boganski now pounds the running game yet again. Stopped for no gain. Really been the story of the last couple drives, at least, just the action at the line of scrimmage.
Oh, yeah.
Not being able to get the ball further past that.
I mentioned the line of scrimmage being the trenches. This looks like the trenches, and it's been relatively even. Both defenses have done a pretty good job of stopping the run, and so this game's going to be dominated by the secondaries. Once you can slip a ball past the trenches, looking good.
Another inside handoff. Taken down for a gain of 1. And that's the big thing with Josh Boganski, 6 foot, 175. He's a bigger guy. He just tries to power his way up the middle. It worked for him in the state championship last year. Cam talked about it. They beat Windsor, and Boganski, the MVP of that game, scoring 4 touchdowns against the Warriors.
Honestly, we have a player down now, and you wonder why Boganski doesn't have any touchdowns. But when you see that, they're using him like a battering ram, it doesn't really surprise me, in all honesty. Maloney's been playing the long ball, and so Boganski hasn't really, I don't think they've really had an opportunity for a big goal line stop. And so, for a big goal line attack from Maloney. And so they've been dominated by the ball in the air, and Boganski's been just getting these really short runs, and he hasn't been able to show what he can do, especially if that was at the goal line. I'd trust him with a 1-yard run.
And that's the other thing that we talked about. Maloney is a spark plug offense. They have 5 touchdowns on the season. That is 30-plus yards that they scored on. So to your point, they haven't had many of those goal line offensive plays, and I think that's really where Boganski strives.
Exactly. And it's a testament to the versatility of Maloney's offense, because being able to be a spark plug offense, but also being able to have a running back who gets 1 or 2 yards every run, which isn't much, but it's reliable close to the goal, it's huge.
Maloney now the 3rd and 7. Valentine throws this one downfield, looking for Kelly, and it's just incomplete. Great defense by Ryan Gerlamo, the junior, once again fighting off his defender. And it's now a 4th down for Maloney.
Yeah, it just looked like he couldn't bring it in there. I mean, talk about Maloney being risk takers. That was a beautiful, beautiful pass by Valentine. And these small mistakes, either, a player not necessarily watching the ball come into his hands, or, small penalties, that's what's been stopping Maloney. This feels like a game with the amount of long balls that's been thrown. This feels like a game that should be a lot wider.
Now back on is Whittington to punt. Kick it to, not sure who that is. With her get out, they got a different punt returner, but Garlamo will take a nice punt return. So his first return of the season, and he picks up some good yardage.
You hear the student section getting rowdy. Darien, as I said, they've been playing short. They've been using all 4 downs to march down the field, and so now the student section seeing this long run, relatively long run, that's getting them fired up. That's what they want to look for. And now you got the band. Feelings coming in.
And this is a fact that I at least found interesting last week. When Maloney was on the offense, of course they were playing at Simsbury. The Trojans have one of the better student sections. But when the student section got into it, Dahl will now rifle the pass over the middle, just incomplete, looking for Will Johnson. But anyways, when Simsbury really brought the energy to it, especially on the crucial 3rd downs or the 4th downs for their team, it really threw the Spartans off. So that could be something looking at down the stretch in the second half of how electric this Darien student section can get and really put Maloney in an uncomfortable position.
But I think on the other side, it's interesting because, as you said, Darien hasn't scored in the second half. And so is the Darien student section going to be able to do enough to not only intimidate Maloney, but also to spur Darien on and get them into a second half push that they haven't seen yet this year?
I assume you remember the other half of that stat, right? Well, as Dahl will fire this one to McMullen, and Isaac will pick up the first down. But Maloney hasn't given up any points in the second half this season. So it's a double whammy for Darien.
It looks like there's been a race the first half, and I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's a slow race, that's for sure.
And they're going to call Dahl just short, even though I thought that, the referee's going to give it to him. It did look like Dahl got the first down. I think they were kind of chipping him of a yard or two right there. But Isaac will power up. Caught 1 ball last week for Darien, but it was a big one, I think, if you remember, Michael. The 40-yard touchdown catch from Dahl.
Yeah. Touchdown catch from Dahl?
Or not a catch from Dahl. Pass from Dahl, catch to McMullen. That's
with how Dahl's been, with how versatile Dahl's been, I wouldn't have been surprised if I hadn't called that game. You can see Dahl here again.
Great job by Isaac to just power his way through. And that's an incompletion. I don't think that was the same highlight, but nonetheless, Darien will try again. Dahl will try in the shotgun with Wilson, who is now moving to his left, twin receivers, or trips on the far side, rather. And Dahl will hand it off to Wilson.
Fumble.
And that ball is on the ground.
Dahl's fighting for it, that's for sure.
And Dahl will come up with the pigskin, so Darien will not lose possession.
Very good management of mistakes by Darien here. Again, it looks like a miscommunication whether or not Wilson was taking the ball or not. Dahl looked like he wanted to keep it. But we've had 2 fumbles from Darien, both of which recovered by the player who fumbled it. That's very heads-up football from Darien, and a very good job to minimize these mistakes and to not allow Maloney to take advantage of them.
And Darien, they entered play with no fumbles on the season, so while they don't like that, at least they recovered it as Dahl. He's going to look for a receiver being pressured. Throws this one, and it is caught by Jake Wilson, the running back himself, picking up the first down.
Wilson and Dahl are showing they can just do it all. I mean, I didn't mean to rhyme there, but it's true. I mean, you have Wilson able to play the long ball, but also able to play for some really solid short run. And then Dahl, able to throw short, able to throw long, and able to get a lot of good yards on the ground.
See, that's one of those things you just say it was intentional. Take credit for it. Dahl going for it all.
Yeah. Maybe I'll use that again later on, and I won't give you credit for that one.
Well, no, I'm not saying.
I won't give anybody credit for that one, except for myself.
I'm saying the fact that you're saying you're selling yourself short as Dahl is now dropping back a couple yards more. And he will be taken down, number 54, Sean Finn, with the sack.
That's a tough mistake when it comes to that. I mean, Dahl's been so heads up, and I just don't think he saw Finn coming, and once he did, there was no way to get the ball out.
That's actually my apologies. Finn was 54. 50, Rodriguez with the sack. Gotcha. That was close, off by 4 numbers.
Yeah.
And they're both really strong defensive line.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think where you see Finn, you'll probably see Rodriguez with just how good they've been with pressure.
So 2nd and a mile for Darien. Dahl fires it over the middle, caught by Will Johnson. Can he pick up another first down? And he will be just short, but again, great job by Will Johnson to power his way, gained a couple extra yards. He caught that at about the 35-yard line. He will take it just shy of the 25, so picked up another 9 yards or so.
Yeah. Darien looks like they're waking up on the mid-ball, if you will.
And this one now, Dahl will keep it himself. and he will get the first down.
I'm unsure if they're giving that to him. Either way, beautiful look from Dahl, but it looks like a player's down.
I would assume they would give that to him. It looks like he got the yardage. Yeah, there we go. They're going to move the chains. First down for Simeon Dahl, so he really does do it all right there on that one, as Darien will now get the 1st and 10, just shy of the red zone. And this is something that Darien struggled with in that game against St. Joseph. 2 red zone opportunities, and they were unable to convert on both of them. So they're looking to change their fortunes here against Maloney. And that St. Joseph game, again, the missed field goal and the interception. What does Darien need to do differently with their red zone opportunities?
Darien needs to capitalize. Dahl needs to play like he's been playing. He's been very good. I mean, he's shown that he is truly a dual threat quarterback tonight. And so if Dahl can be a threat for a 5-6 yard run, once they get close to the end zone, that's another player you have to worry about if you're Maloney. And that's going to spread their defense really thin, and that's going to open up holes and give Darien offense opportunities.
Looking for the end zone, and just high of number 10, Martell of Maloney, and was looking for McGuckin. But Darien, you're fine with that one right there. You got
absolutely.
a couple more plays.
Yeah, you have. Like I said, Darien's been using every down to their disposal. So why not go for it on the long ball and first down?
Especially in the way that Dahl's been playing. He's been completing those passes. He's been playing like an all FCAC quarterback. It felt like this first half. He's missing that big touchdown to cap it all off. Yeah,
he plays like he's playing like he feels good, and he looks good. He's been playing very heads up football. He's been smart on his scrambles. It looks like he's been going through his progressions really well.
Timeout, Maloney.
So timeout taken. I believe the referee signaled on Darien, although the PA announcer gave it to Maloney. Nonetheless, a timeout. What do you think is being said in head coach Mike Forget's huddle right now, Mercine?
I think Forget's telling his offense, don't worry. You've been driving down the field, and don't get greedy. The field may be shortening, but that doesn't mean that you're going to need to play more aggressively. If anything, that means that Darien's going to need to fall back on fundamentals. They're going to need to use both downs they have available to them, and they're going to have to play smart and not try to be the hero. And if they do that, they have another down. They maybe even have 2 if they do things right another first down and maybe a second one before they get to the end zone.
And I'm looking over on that Maloney sideline. They brought some rowdy fans with them over there. It looks like a choreographed dance, it appears to be.
Yeah, I think that's a flash mob, honestly. Looks great. And shows the energy that both teams are having.
Dahl will look for a receiver. He's looking for the end zone. And that one is incomplete, just over the head of number 5, Brady Picorni.
Looks like he was trying to mirror the touchdown that Maloney had. And if you're Picorni, he was probably getting a flashback to that other pass, and where he's in the favorable position there, but he just can't come away with it.
Brady Picorni just past his reach. And Darien will now try again on 3rd and 10. So Darien could really use a conversion here. They had the 1st and 10 on this spot. 2 incompletions leads them to this point. Dahl now fires one over the middle. Caught, reeled in before being brought back. Catch from Will Johnson.
Looks like they gave him the first down as well. Beautiful catch by Johnson, and a good job on him staying mobile. He backs up to try to get as many yards as possible, and he gets pushed back, but he stays standing. He sees an opportunity to try to get away, and unfortunately he can't use it, but he still gets that first down.
Will Johnson, the specialty guy on getting those first downs for
Absolutely.
Darien. Jake Wilson will now pound the running game. He has a hole, and he is gone. Touchdown, Jake Wilson, and Darien makes it a 7-6 ball game.
That is a beautiful play by the Darien offense. Look at that block by number 73 and number 65. That hole is wide open, and you know what? Wilson has nothing but daylight. He gets that run, and he gets that touchdown, and he doesn't even have to break a sweat.
Jake Wilson, touchdown number 4 on the season. And now Tucker Stevens is on for the equalizer.
You can hear that Darien crowd. They are loving this.
And Tucker, a beautiful kick. And Darien needed that right there. The great blocks by, you mentioned, the players, the offensive line. And Jake Wilson just pounded it right up the middle, tying us up at 7.
You know what? That's the type of play that if you're Coach Mike Forget, you're patting yourself on the back. That's the play you run in practice. You know how in practice when you don't have pads, all the plays seem to run perfectly, all the blocks are perfect. That was one of those plays, and it looked beautiful. And you know what? If you're the Darien offense, that gets you right back into this. And even if Darien doesn't score in the second half, it's a 7-7 game, so all they need to do is hang on for now.
Well, then you go to overtime.
Oh yeah, of course, but if they haven't scored in the second half, who knows about overtime?
That is a
We
good
haven't
point.
seen that yet.
That is a very good point. I'm not sure. We didn't even see it last year. It's been since before COVID that I think we've had an overtime game. But that's getting way ahead of ourselves.
I was going to say, I'm not. I don't have the encyclopedic knowledge of all of Darien's past games like you do.
Oh, well, thank you for the compliment.
Oh no, it's a
Honored.
certain. No, seriously, I'm being serious.
And Isaac McMullen will now be taking over the kickoff duties. McMullen kicked the PATs for Darien last season, made a couple nice ones down the stretch in the state playoffs. Now he will be booting us away.
Who kicked? No, Darien hasn't kicked the field goal, or hasn't kicked the kickoff yet. I was trying to remember who kicked the opening kickoff, but that was Maloney. So Darien coming down to the score, only 1:14 left to go in the half, and then Darien gets the ball back. This is absolutely the moment that Darien wants to capitalize on and wants to definitely put Maloney on the back foot and make them make even more mistakes than they have because they're catching up.
I think actually to correct you, they're kicking away to start the second half. I think Darien had the first possession in it, so Maloney will be starting.
You're right.
I'm just gonna say because I'm pretty sure
Couldn't do
Maloney
my
won the
math.
coin
Missed my
toss.
math.
Why
You're
would
right. They did.
Why would
You're
they
right.
take?
You're right.
I just have to think about that for a second.
Well, that was a good theoretical.
Well,
you
it
know,
was
it's always
a good
good to think about what
theoretical,
if, right?
But that's not possible, though.
No, it's not possible.
McMullen will give it the run up. Kicks it away. Shorter kick. This one will be fielded, and it's muffed. Pouncing on it, though, is number 23, Vasquez. That could have been chaos for the Spartans.
Another good recovery. I mean, this is the third loose ball we've seen with a solid recovery by the returner or whoever drops the ball.
It's actually 25, Logan Kicklighter. Talk about a name right there.
Great name.
Kicklighter. Although it's not as good as the quarterback name, apparently.
Oh, absolutely. I've been love. I think Kyle Valentine is an awesome quarterback name. I think as he takes the field, he's going to show that he's played like a quarterback fitting of the name Kyle Valentine.
Well, you were mentioning the analogy. You were comparing him to Joe Montana
in name, if anything else. But I mean, you think Joe Montana, great quarterback name, and I think Kyle Valentine's up there.
Caught by Phillips Feliciano, and he will be taken out for a loss of 3. I just found it interesting, though, that you had no clue who Kyle Valentine was until a couple hours ago. And
I did my research. It was a couple days.
Oh, okay.
It was a couple days.
Couple days ago, and you were comparing it with Joe Montana.
Just as far as the name goes, because I think there's a lot of stock in a name, right? There's a lot of good position names. I think if you look, I can't pull it off the top of my head right now, but I think Kyle Valentine, great quarterback name.
You heard it here first. Great quarterback name, Kyle Valentine.
It's kind of like name object,
I guess. And now Valentine will hand it off to Boganski. And Boganski will be taken down by Jack Barber. About 20 seconds left on the clock. It will be 3rd and 9. But Boganski trying to power his way through, get a couple extra yards.
Good job by Boganski holding on to the ball. It looked like Darien was trying to force a fumble there. And Boganski, he did what he did best. He got a few yards, not enough to even get a first down after through 3 downs, but he got it close.
So we are through the first half in this one, and we have a tie ball game, 7-7. Michael, what did you see in the first 24 minutes?
Darien and Maloney looked like 2 different teams. So what I mean by that, of course, they're different teams, but they had very different styles up until Darien's last drive, which I'll get to in a second. Darien was, I said it a few times, marching. They used all of their downs. They were playing well in the run game, and Simeon Dahl was playing fantastically. He was getting yards on the ground and some yards in the air. And on the opposite side, Maloney, they were playing their typical spark plug offense. They were they had 2 big plays, excluding touchdown passes, that sort of helped Maloney get to the goal line. And so, with these 2 opposing sort of philosophies of how you get down the field, it's surprising to see a tie game here. But Darien did a good job of playing mid-range and in the last drive, and Darien's caught up. And it looks like they're going to play with some good energy coming in the second half.
What do you think the Darien Blue Wave, what do you think they need to tweak coming out into the second half?
They just need to focus on those Maloney receivers. I think if you're Coach Forget, you are patting your defense on the back. You're patting Leighton Reeser, J.D. Brennan, Jack Barber, all the defensive line, all the linebackers. They have done a great job of making Valentine move, making Valentine throw on the run. The only thing that needs a little bit of improvement is I think the secondary could be a little bit competitive for those jump balls that Valentine's throwing, and that comes down to a speed difference. So they're going to need to work extra hard to keep Maloney down.
You're watching the DAF Media Network, a joint venture of the Darien Athletic Foundation and the Darien Foundation. We're going to step aside for halftime, but when we return, we have the second half in this tied ball game between Darien and Maloney. We'll be back.
The Darien Foundation was founded in 1998 by Richard and Maureen Chilton, and the thesis behind that founding was to bring technology to the Darien public school systems. And that launched us, and that got us going, and through technology and capital project initiatives, we've now funded over $5.5 million over the last 24 years to build a better Darien.
Our board really likes to get involved and assist the partners that we collaborate with, whether it's a grant for a youth project or a grant from a community service, schools, the police. Often they come to us with ideas that we help them bring to fruition.
The Darien Foundation recently awarded the Darien Police Department 2 grants. One was for laser shot and the other for Faro technology. Laser shot technology is based on decision making. It may come down to using their firearm, but in reality, we would like them to talk the situation down where you use less lethal force, and this program allows us to do that.
Police, drop the gun!
Faro technology gives us a 360-degree view, catching all the points we need to catch in our accident scene. It also takes a lot less time. This allows us to open up roads, get traffic flowing a lot quicker than we ever used to be able to. We can also map the inside of buildings. We can use it at outdoor crime scenes, indoor crime scenes. It's really used for a plethora of investigations. It's a tool that most other departments may not have their hands on just yet, and thanks to the Darien Foundation, we have that technology.
At Home in Darien is a nonprofit organization that helps senior citizens to remain living independently in their home and in the community. We provide important services to help them do so, such as transportation. Thanks to the Darien Foundation, we have this amazing new van, and we are so excited about it and what it'll do for the community.
From all standpoints, this is going to be a real improvement in the services we provide, both in terms of safety and comfort. The Darien Foundation is important to the community in the scope that they reach out to answer needs.
Post 53 is the town's ambulance service. We respond to over 1,600 emergency calls a year. We're a vital service that has been here for 51 years. The technology upgrades provided by the Darien Foundation has been a game changer for us. It's allowed us to improve our training. It has helped us hone our skills. You don't know how important an ambulance is until you actually need it. Thanks to our partnership with the Darien Foundation, who's provided all of this technology and several grants throughout the years, we're able to continue to be prepared, to be well-trained and well-staffed, to respond 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whenever you need it.
The Darien Foundation is really excited to be able to launch a new program for the Darien schools, which will benefit students K through 12 in all 7 schools. This is the new robotics program, which will be an extracurricular opportunity for students to build robots, compete against other leagues, and collaborate together.
Our robotics program is going to benefit students in so many ways. In regular classes, students are always looking for the right answer, that there's only one way to answer something. Robotics is completely different. In robotics, you learn that there are multiple solutions to every problem. You learn that you have these obstacles that you have to overcome. You have to really be a creative problem solver. And most importantly, you need to persevere.
Early on in the process, the Darien Foundation reached out to administration and
the offer to provide funding for a project, and it just dovetailed beautifully to the goals of the strategic plan. I look forward to continue to work closely with the Darien Foundation, both on this project and other projects down the line.
We welcome ideas for possible grants. We'd like to do grants that promote and strengthen our community. Sometimes it's from an organization, sometimes it's from our emergency service partners, or it's from the Darien Public Schools. One of our most popular grants, which was the Playground by the Sound, came to us from 4 Darien moms who said, let's get together and figure out how to build this.
Thanks to the generosity of our board members and officers, every dollar you give to the Darien Foundation goes directly to the grants that we're supporting. I invite all of you to help us move our community further and support the Darien Foundation.
Celebrating and supporting Darien athletes. That is a simple mission of the Darien Athletic Foundation. Broadcasting live from the field, DAF Media covers 125 games a year. All Darien teams, our youth, in our town, on our fields. Fields like the Center Oval and Upper Oval turfs, the JV softball field, and Stadium East, the longest turf in New England. All made possible by the Darien Athletic Foundation and its generous founders and donors. The Darien Athletic Foundation is not just committed to building our town's athletic infrastructure, it's improving the civic infrastructure for everyone to enjoy. The multimedia scoreboard, the snack bar pavilion, and the stadium lights, a $750,000 investment that makes Darien High School just the second school in Connecticut with LED lights. The Darien Athletic Foundation board is made up of local parents who know just how quickly it goes by. Its archives of more than 60,000 photos capture those precious moments of our young athletes as they strive to be their very best. The Darien Athletic Foundation has raised almost $9.5 million for our town and its kids, and it's not stopping there, as it continues to build a legacy for our youth as bright as their future, both on and off the field.
DAF Media is actively seeking financial support. Founded in 2017, DAF Media has quickly become Southwestern Connecticut's source for quality sports, arts, and community programming. If you like what you see on the DAF Media Network and want to help us continue to deliver high-quality broadcasts while teaching lifelong STEM, communication, organization, and leadership skills, please email us at sponsor@dafmedia.org. We are a registered 501c3 organization. This broadcast is produced.
We're back on the DAF Media Network. 7-7 our score between Darien and Maloney. It's been a good game.
It's been a great game. And, you know, there's been a lot of aggression. Both teams looked really good, and both teams have looked competitive. I think this game is maybe a little lower scoring than any of us were expecting, but is definitely as competitive and as much of an even game as a lot of people were expecting. Darien felt like they might have had the upper hand. I'm sure Maloney thought they had the upper hand. Looks good.
It definitely will. And 7-7 has been a tightly competitive game here, and nobody knew what we were going to expect coming into this one. These teams have never met before, Class LL, Class L.
Yeah.
And it's 7-7 in this first half. What do you think the second half is going to have in store?
It's going to be definitely competitive. I think, you know, who might have some class in the second half? I think Cam McGraw is going to have thoughts on the second half. Let's go down to him.
Yeah, now we're going to send you down to Cam McGraw with more on the second half.
Guys, we were talking about 2 championship teams earlier today. Back in 2006, Maloney actually played New Canaan in the MM Championship. And then back in 1989, they played in the Class M. And they lost to St. Joe's 14-7. Definitely showing some experience in this FCAC division. Playing Darien tonight, let's see what they do in the second half. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Cam. And of course, providing the great insight in this one, as Darien's still waiting to come out on the field.
I like that word, experience, because, you know, there's a lot of experience going on right now. Darien and Maloney have experienced each other's pace, and so now's going to be the time for a lot of adjustments. Now's going to be the time for Darien to show, for Darien's coaching staff to show that they are good at making adjustments and show that they are good at changing things on the fly. And it's going to be up to Maloney to try to abuse the weaknesses that they may have seen in Darien's defense and offense and try to just get these big plays going, try to get that spark plug running and try to just break Darien's morale. But with how good the student section has been for Darien, I don't know how much you could do to break Darien's morale. They seem like they are really ready to go, and you can see them running. They should be coming out soon, and you can feel the energy, right?
I wonder if we can take a shot of that. It's a sea of Darien fans down there in the blackout, and they're ready to greet their Blue Wave when they come back out on the field. As they are ready for a second half of football. Here are the Blue Wave coming out ready. And you can tell Michael Mercine, this is a team that is battle ready. Mike Forget fired them up at the half, and they're ready to go for 24 more minutes.
Mike Forget is firing them up. The Darien student section's firing up. And, you know, this team, they have a really good team chemistry. They're firing each other up. Darien is ready to go. You hear We Will Rock You playing. That's not just people up in the booths mentality. That's everybody's mentality here. Darien is ready to play. They're ready to go long and hard. And I think Darien could play with a newfound aggression, with a newfound passion, and could show Maloney that it doesn't matter if you are a big play offense, because Darien is bigger, Darien is stronger, Darien is coming out to play, and they've shown that.
They definitely have, and Maloney again will get the opening kick when we get underway. And Darien, they need to come out here. They need to prove something. They have not scored in the second half all season, and Maloney has not given up any points in the second half all season. So the stats are not looking great for, I guess, Darien, but Maloney.
Yeah, but this Darien team has looked different. Like, of course, statistics are important. You know, we have so many stats laid out in front of us, right? But when it comes to it, Darien is playing with a very different mentality this game than we've seen the past 2 games. They know that Maloney is a challenge. I think they underestimated St. Joe's, and they definitely didn't expect much out of Bridgeport Central. But now, Darien knows that they're here to play in the second half. Darien knows that they need to play all 24 minutes if they want to win, because they know Maloney, that's what they're going to be doing as well.
And you want to give us a glimpse of what you think head coach Kevin Frederick was saying to his guys at the half?
I think Frederick was saying, you know, Darien, they are bigger than you. They are stronger, and they've been playing more aggressively. But that doesn't mean that Maloney needs to stop break down its fundamentals. They need to build on their pass game, and they need to keep Darien guessing. They've been relying on the run game, and I think Kevin Frederick, he knows that he has to change things up in the second half.
So Isaac McMullen will boot it away in the second half. And a squib kit they're looking for, fielded by number 64, Ray. And I don't think Ray was expecting that one.
Yeah, it looked like it was almost trying to be a sneak onside kick. It looked like there was a lot of backspin from the kick from McMullen, and Darien was just.
Darien will re-kick.
Looks like they're re-kicking. I wonder why that is.
There's a flag on it.
Illegal procedure against Darien.
Gotcha. Illegal procedure. Illegal procedure.
There's a procedure for kickoff?
Well, yeah. Illegal procedure could be anything like some illegal motion, or maybe I don't know the specific FCAC rules on kickoffs. Potentially, you're not allowed to onside kick out of the first half or out of the second half. But you know they're going to take a 5-yard knock, and Maloney's going to be really confused on what they're going to be seeing now, because they could see the onside kick again, but I doubt they will.
Francisco Ray was not expecting that one. McMullen will now try it again after the flag.
If you look at Ray, he looks like he's expecting it now.
And this one now kicked to the side, fielded by Kelly at the 35-yard line. Kelly's now going to take it up the field. Flag has been thrown. Kelly is off. He's on the 40, the 30. Dante Kelly is loose, and he will be taken down. But again, the Maloney special teams is showing up.
Flag on a play, back at the 42-yard line.
Yeah, let's see what that flag is. It looks like one of the judges is calling holding and pointing towards Maloney's end zone.
And I think they're going to call
block in the back.
Yep. So that would have been a nice return from Dante Kelly. Instead, they're coming back a bit.
So the story of this game has been Maloney and penalties on kickoffs. Again, Maloney has this opportunity served up to them by Darien. And now they've lost. Now they're back on the 32. That's actually further than McMullen even kicked it, I think. And so Maloney's digging themselves into a hole here with these mistakes. They keep making mistakes, and it doesn't really look like they've made the adjustment coming out of halftime.
We're now going to take a look at the graphic for Kyle Valentine as he will trot back out on the offense with his team. You see the stats. He's been playing a great first half so far. And the 372 passing yards really sticks out,
on the season,
of course, to the 5 touchdowns that he has on the season.
He's looked like a great quarterback, but his completion percentage this game has not been good. And it doesn't seem like it's been Valentine's fault.
Throws this one downfield and incomplete just through the hands of Vasquez.
Exactly what I was saying. Exactly what I was talking about. Vasquez had that ball, and he should have come down with it, in all honesty. Look at this. He watches the ball come into his hands, and he still goes down and drops the ball. Fitzpatrick's been seeing this all game. And because of that, I think Fitzpatrick he's probably frustrated. He went 8 for 8 to start his game last week, and he hasn't made many receptions, and a lot of it has been because of drops by the receivers, and that's very unlike Maloney.
Why do you think that's happening tonight?
Pressure. Darien is a big team. They're much bigger than Maloney, I think, on all fronts. And so seeing this huge Darien defense coming at you, it's got to
take it itself, go out of bounds. And Darien's had a good defense all year.
Yeah.
Shut out Bridgeport Central last week, only gave up 14 to the Hogs of St. Joseph. But that game against St. Joseph, for the first 3.5 quarters, we'll call it, their defense was locked down.
Oh, absolutely. This defense, they're in the zone, and they seem like they've been in the zone. Now, of course, getting beat in the last half quarter for St. Joe's isn't ideal, and that shows that, you can abuse the secondary a little bit with Darien. But the defensive line and the linebackers have looked really solid. They've shown, they are a really big defense, and they've used their defense, and they've been intimidating offenses all year.
Valentine's going to scramble with it. He's going to take it past the line of scrimmage, being tripped up by number 11, Brennan, and taken down by number 71, Carter Hagan.
So remember how I said Simeon Dahl seems like he's been going to the Coach Forget's school of quarterback movement? Looks like Valentine's going to the Simeon Dahl school of quarterback movement. That was not to compare the two. To compare the two. That was a very Simeon Dahl-esque run. He had a pass. He looked like he was looking downfield, but he just abandoned that pass and was able to sort of squeeze his way between players and not necessarily take a hit directly.
It's a good analogy right there. You're really going all in on those school analogies tonight, aren't you?
I mean, coaching's important, and so coaches build good coaching staffs, and both these coaching staffs seem like they know what they're doing.
The punt from Whittington. Schwinn will let that one bounce as Gerlamo go to his direction before it's fielded by Marquise Ward at the 27-yard line, we'll call it. And, of course, if you're just joining us, Braden Shank and Michael Mercine with you on the DAF Media Network. So glad you can be with us to take you through the first half. Maloney got on the board first, a reception touchdown to Dante Kelly in the first quarter, and then Jake Wilson ran one right up the middle, tying us at 7. And that is where we are here in the second half.
Darien has an opportunity to strike here. I mean, they have an opportunity to strike every drive, of course, but Maloney has gone, by my count, almost 20 minutes without a score now?
Well, with the exception of the Jake Wilson touchdown, the last 5 drives have been punts, and also the exception of the halftime, but it's just been punting, really.
Yeah, it's been punt city, and even then, it's still both offenses have looked good, but the defenses have just looked better.
And just saw on your screen there. Dahl's going to throw this one. It's intercepted by number 5, Moore. Zakai Moore with the Spartan interception.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Dahl just didn't see him behind the, I mean, Darien line is very large, or if Moore just came up and, yeah, it looks like Dahl got greedy there. He saw McMullen open, and you know how McMullen is in open space, and he got greedy. He tunnel visioned onto McMullen, and Moore came in, made an interception, and has put Maloney into pretty good position here.
Zakai Moore, the junior, has now set the Spartans up on the 31-yard line in prime position to take the lead right back.
You know, we were just talking about Punt City, and we have our first turnover of the game, right?
That is correct.
And so, you know, this game's going to be characterized by which team makes mistakes and which team can capitalize on mistakes.
Downfield, he's looking for the receiver, and it is complete. Number 2, Dante Kelly, and he will take it down to the 1-yard line. Dante Kelly, another big reception. They ran that play against Simsbury. They ran it against East Hartford, but that long ball downfield finds Kelly, and the Spartans are inching closer to the end zone.
That's a beautiful throw and catch. I mean, I just talked about capitalizing on mistakes. Talk about capitalizing on mistakes. Valentine comes in, throws a great throw, and
hands this one off. And
they're going to run it for a touchdown, I believe.
Touchdown for the Spartans. Boganski, touchdown number 1 on the season. And Maloney takes the lead. I think that was Boganski. That's actually 25. Kick
no, 24.
Or 24.
Yeah, it looked like, I mean, they had both running backs lined up there, and it was Boganski. As I said, you know, Boganski's a good short running back, and when you allow Maloney to get down to the goal line, you know, those 1 or 2 yards, that's enough for a touchdown, and we saw that there.
Josh Boganski, the touchdown rush for the Spartans, and they go up 13-7. The extra point from Scaramuzzo is right and good. 14-7, Maloney. And how does Darien come back from that?
They have to just respond. I mean, Darien comes back from that by playing the same way they played the first half. Darien gave up a touchdown relatively early in the first quarter. They just need to play as if nothing is different. They need to play as if they're, not necessarily if it's a tied game. Of course, you need to change the circumstances, especially on defense, to try to prevent another touchdown. But Darien needs to just keep going, needs to keep driving like they were, and you still have 20 minutes of football. They've got time, and they know that.
They do indeed. The offense came out for just that one play. Dahl threw the interception to Moore, and then it takes 2 plays for Maloney to score that long pass down to Kelly, and then Josh Boganski, touchdown number 1 on the season, and a big first touchdown for Boganski.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Boganski's definitely going to be thinking about that one for a while, because it's going to unlock. It could unlock him for the rest of the season, of course, but that was Boganski's chance to prove that, sure, he may not fit in this, you know, long pass offense, but he's still a very good running back, and he's very valuable at the goal line, like you just showed.
And I feel like we were talking about that in the second quarter, how he can be valuable. They just need that opportunity, and they got one and capitalized. So great job by the Maloney Spartans, and now Scaramuzzo on the kickoff. This one will go all the way down to Wilson on the 15-yard line. Jake Wilson fields it. He's going to take it across the field to the far side now. Wilson is still up with it. On to the 20. Jake Wilson on the far sideline, and he will be pushed out of bounds by number 40. And it's not 40. It's one of the zeros, but a great job by Wilson. It's actually 10. I was close enough.
You saw number 4 and number 10.
Oh, 10 and 14.
And 4 was right there, so that's got to throw you off.
But Jake Wilson, the great kickoff return, he will now take it to the 49-yard line.
You know, Wilson there, he gets to showcase his speed. You know, you don't see his speed very often because Darien likes to sort of run him like Ty Comiskey, like they ran Ty Comiskey last year, you know, be really aggressive and hit the line hard. But Wilson's fast, and he showed it there, and he got probably 20 more yards than I expected him to just by getting around the corner, just by good blocking.
He did indeed. He took it to that far side as Darien will now set Dahl up in shotgun, trips on the near side, hands it off to Wilson. Wilson trying to stiff arm his way to a couple more yards. Flag is thrown. And we're going to see holding on the offense. So that is coming back.
Mistakes. I mean, I'm going to keep saying it as long as they happen, right? Darien cannot just throw away this opportunity that Wilson has presented, with penalties with mistakes. Now Darien is back at 1st and 20, better than 2nd down. At least it's not 2nd and 20, of course.
Well, of course.
But Darien's going to have to play the long ball and hopefully try to recover. And they're out of their depth here a little bit.
1st and 20 on the 41-yard line. Dole's going to scramble, being pressured, and he will be taken down. Number 25, Logan Kicklighter with the sack, and Darien is moving in the wrong direction.
Like I said, Darien's offense has been focused on using 3 downs to get 10 yards. Now, that's the basis of football, but Darien has embodied that. They've used all 3 downs, and when you have only 3 downs to get 20 yards, that really could put a lot of pressure on an offense and could force them to make mistakes like that tackle in the backfield.
2nd and 23 for Darien. They're going to be looking at the air. You got to assume trips on the far side. Dole is going to scramble with it. Has some time. Throws this one off and onto their sideline. Was looking for Briggs McGuckin. And it will now be 3rd and 23.
Now you need a Maloney-esque long ball, and Darien hasn't really shown that so far this game. Not saying that they don't have it in their arsenal, but if you're Maloney, if you're the Maloney secondary, you know the ball's coming to you, and they're going to be more. They may be more aggressive with the ball because they know it's going to be pass, and Dahl's just going to have to take his time and hope his pocket can let him write another book.
Yeah, he's got to add a second sequel to that novel series that he wrote in the first half.
He had a lot of time in the backfield in the first half. There was a few times where he was chased out, but even then he was playing heads-up football, and let's see how much time he gets now.
Flag is thrown, and that's going to be a delay of game on Darien. I think they got the timeout off it. I'm not really sure what happened there. The umpire threw the flag on it, but Darien will get the timeout. They will call their first timeout of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like that was just a referee miscommunication. I assume it was the referee on the far side who threw the flag and the referee on the near side who would have seen the timeout being called. And so that was just a good call by Coach Forget to prevent any more yards being given. Even in the punt, you don't want to get another penalty. The
Darien student section now jumping around on the DHS band. Darien can use some energy in this place. 3rd and 22. They need a conversion.
Oh, absolutely. And even if they don't get a conversion, they just need yards here. They can't give Maloney good field position and let them keep this momentum that they've just built off of their touchdown. We saw against St. Joe's, their first touchdown, St. Joe's first touchdown sort of paved the way for St. Joe's second because St. Joe's was able to build up momentum, and Darien has to turn that over now.
4 receivers on the far side. Dole's going to throw to one, complete to Picorni. Picorni will be trying to claw his way up and taken down by a trio of Maloney Spartans.
I'm surprised by that play call, to be honest, because you're 3rd and 22. You don't really expect to throw what's essentially a screen. It was past the line of scrimmage, but I know Picorni's fast. I mean, he's going to Notre Dame for lacrosse, but he's not even that fast. He can't maneuver his way past probably 6 or 7 Maloney defenders to get the first down.
You mentioned the news of Brady Picorni committed to Notre Dame to play lacrosse. He's going to the big ACC for lacrosse. As Somerville will punt this one down to Gonzalez. And Gonzalez will let that one roll.
Great punt from Somerville.
Again, Doug Somerville, not usually the team's punter. Trevor Herget usually takes over that job. Somerville put in the situation and punt today and has been doing a pretty solid job.
Yeah, he's done a really good job. And one of the good examples of Darien stepping up to fill holes. McBride's out. We've had receivers like Johnson step up as a quasi wide receiver 1. Now Herget's out. And so we've also had players stepping up. McMullen on the kickoff. You also have Somerville on the punts. And so this team has been really good at being adaptable and being able to change on the fly, and they need to change on the fly now and stop this passing game.
Ball will be started on the Maloney 16-yard line. Justin Valentine and co. looking to get something. Hands it off to Boganski. And Boganski will power his way for a gain of 1.
They love that run, don't they?
They do.
I've seen it. I don't know how many times they've called the exact same play. Of course, there's going to be variations, but they seem to think that Boganski up the middle is going to somehow stump Darien's defense, and they've just been on it. Darien has been really, really on it when it comes to the run game.
They have indeed, and Darien, they knew that was going to be something they needed to defend. Boganski, a guy as this one's thrown downfield and deflected by number 24, James Schwind.
That was great coverage by Schwind. I mean, you can see the receiver extends, and if Schwind's not there, that's a very long pass. But Schwind comes in, he gets his hand on the ball, probably couldn't have caught that, and he does a really good job of breaking up that pass.
I give this Darien coaching staff credit. They did their homework on Maloney. They know they like to throw that long ball, and last week against Simsbury, there was 2 or 3 times Maloney was left wide open for those catches, and Darien's now playing the defense to that, adjusting to it, and making some big stops. Now Valentine throws this one downfield, and that one will be just out of bounds, but it was a great catch from Martell. Just couldn't keep it in play.
Yeah, and I mean, I mentioned Herget before, right? It's really hard because against a team that passes so well, you're missing Herget, who's a very good defensive back. And so when you're missing Herget, you need to be able to make that adjustment, and the coaching staff has done a very good job of coaching their players, which that's their job, on Maloney's deep ball, and the secondary has made that adjustment, it looks like, and is ready to sort of stop the deep ball more.
And it's something they still have a lot of time left. You got the 6 minutes, 47 seconds in this third quarter, and then a whole nother 12 minutes in the fourth quarter, as Maloney's got none on the clock. Play clock's at 0. They will still get the snap off. The punt from Whittington. And that one will be stopped by number 14, Ward, at the 45-yard line. It was interesting, though, because the play clock was at 0 for a couple seconds.
I believe the play clock might have started at 25 instead of 40, where I think it's supposed to start on 40 on a punt.
Explain it.
And so I think the refs would have their own play clock on them, and, of course, they wouldn't call the penalty there.
That would explain it.
Can't take away 15 seconds, especially on a punt where formation's essential.
That's not something Sweeney's controlling, right?
No, that's not. That's something that one of the other high school staff is controlling.
I was going to say, if it was Sweeney, I feel like you got to heckle him on air for it. But
oh, yeah, but I mean, as our PA announcer, I don't think he can necessarily do PA and also control the play clock.
I don't know. He's one talented guy.
That is true.
Darien, that rush from Wilson stopped for no gain. It will now be 2nd and 10 yet again on the Maloney 46-yard line.
Wilson, no gain, 2nd down, 10.
Feels like it's definitely been a run-heavy game so far, Mercier.
Absolutely, and it's strange because it's been a run-heavy game and the run hasn't been working. I don't have completion percentage off the top of my head.
Being pressured, he will be taken down. Number 4, Armani Ortiz with the sack.
Oh, wow, and there was a flag, I believe, for taunting. It looks like Ortiz came up and did the Superman, and Ortiz came up and he did the Superman sort of, what do you say, the shirt rip. And he did that right in front of a ref, and you cannot do that.
Armani Ortiz gets credited for the sack. Unsportsmanlike conduct, the call. But it still goes down on the stat sheet as a sack technically, right?
I believe so, but now you've just given Darien 3rd and 10. You just took 10 yards away and gave it right back. And if you are Coach Frederick, you're losing your mind. This has been a game categorized or exemplified by Maloney mistakes or Maloney penalties, and there's another.
Some confusion on the referee's side on what down number it is. They're going to call it 3rd and 10, though, even though it's not on the 10. Well, let's graphically. 3rd and 6 or so, we'll call it. We'll compromise.
Yeah, and so turn to sack into free yards, and you never want to do that, especially
over the middle and just past the reach of McMullen.
Again, it's been sort of exemplified by
and McMullen, that one just past his reach, but a good spiral from Simeon Dahl. And 4th and 5 is now what Darien sees themselves facing.
Looks like Somerville's coming back for the punt. I wouldn't mind them going for it on 4th down, but with how lights out Somerville's been with these past few punts, I could see him putting Maloney in a really tough spot and allowing Darien to sort of change the momentum.
Bringing some new guys on, it looks like. 41, 75, 26. Jack Stewart.
It looked like Somerville and delay of game, I believe.
Agarin. And, ooh, I'm not sure what that call was.
But yeah, I think that's delay of game.
What was it the?
I mean, Somerville came out and the rest of the punt team didn't. I don't think that was very well. I don't know if that was a miscommunication from the offensive line or a miscommunication from the coaching staff. But for some reason, they were not expecting the punt to go out.
So the delay of game on Darien will now set them up 4th and 11. They're going to punt it away. Gonzalez back for the return. Josiah Gonzalez, the speedy guy for the Maloney Spartans. As Somerville, once again, the high-flying punt. And it touched somebody. I think it was a Darien player.
Yeah, was a Darien player.
Darien's going to try to fight for it, but...
Refs are going to say it's Maloney's
yeah,
ball. I don't think it ever touched a Maloney
somebody
player.
right here. I think it was 26
yes,
for Darien.
It touches his left hand.
Yeah. I think, yeah, so 26 for Darien touches it, and Sean McGarren. But Darien thought that it could have hit Maloney.
Yeah, you can't muff a punt for the other team, unfortunately, and so that doesn't count as a recovery for Darien.
Would be cool if you could, though.
I mean, that definitely changed the game, wouldn't it?
So now Maloney will take back over on the offense. 1st and 10 on the 20 or the 19-yard line. Valentine in the backfield will hand this one off to Boganski. Boganski chugging his way up the middle for a gain of 5.
A little bit more success than we've seen so far tonight from Boganski. And, you know, he chugs up when he has a hole. He hasn't had a hole for the past for a lot of his rushes. But there, he had a little bit of space, and Darien was still able to just collapse on him and hold him to 5 yards.
So get this, Mercine. We have seen 2, 4, 6, 7 drives in the second half. Not a single one of them has gone longer than 3 plays.
7 drives in the second half?
Yeah, that's what I have down.
Wow. That's impressive.
Well, when none of them have gone longer than 3 plays, you understand why.
I do understand that. That makes sense. And it's interesting because it's not just 3 and outs, and it speaks to how flexible Maloney is. You know, they score in under 3 plays, especially after an interception by Darien.
On the first play.
No, second play.
Oh, you're right. Second play interception, but still, yeah. Hands off to Boganski. And
that's a big run. That's a big man and a big run.
That is the first down.
There you see some of Boganski's power. I don't think he's really been showing it that well, but if you see here, he's moving the whole pile. And watch his legs. He's still pumping, and he's getting extra yards and pushing through that Darien defensive line.
Josh Boganski, we've been mentioning all game, a physical guy, uses the strength to his advantage, gains those couple extra yards, because if you add them all up, they make the difference.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's death by 1,000 cuts, right? They know that Boganski is going to have moments where he does that, where he pushes piles, where he can get extra yards. But he also gets stopped for 1 or 2 yards. But that's still even slightly better position for the Maloney offense.
Another rush there from Boganski. Picks up 3 on it. 2nd and 6 for the Spartans on the 36, 37-yard line around there. We don't have the best vantage point of it.
No, we do not.
Valentine drops back. Throws this one downfield.
And double coverage.
Incomplete, looking for Gonzalez. Great coverage by Schwind and Gerlamo.
Yeah, they've wanted to use, oh, it looks like Gonzalez is coming out. Maybe a cramp, maybe he pulled a muscle or something like that, but he's coming out and they're going to have to replace him with another receiver.
That is not good. Josiah Gonzalez, the team high 6 receptions entering play today. He's been the #1 target for the Spartans, has seen some opportunities today, so that's not what you like to see.
Yeah, and if you saw, that was the first time Gonzalez has been double covered all game. And it was a really good adjustment by Darien because they've been throwing that post route all night, and now Darien's starting to be wise to that.
And that one is taken down. Number 8, A.J. Kelly with the pressure. And now it will be 4th and 6 for the Spartans. A.J. Kelly coming up clutch, getting the jump, beating past, it looks like open coverage. I don't see who was guarding him.
I think number 74 thought they were going to be double teaming Leighton Reeser. I mean, he's been a threat. As we said, they knew he was going to be a threat, and A.J. Kelly just came right past 74, got that tackle.
And Howard Stedford is not an easy guy to beat on the coverage. He is the #1 lineman for the Spartans. Took over for All-Stater Rashawn Shelton in the offseason, had some big shoes to fill, and he has been a big-time blocker for the Spartans.
Just shows how fast Darien's defense is. Even if they're big, they can still play hard.
This one now up in the air. Schwind will watch this one come back to him and just let it go, as it will be fielded by Ward at the 16-yard line.
You know, every time the Maloney punter kicks, I keep thinking it's not going to go very far, but he's been getting some incredible bounces. He has some really good spin on the ball. and that allows him to, have a ball land on the 25 and pin a team back to the 17.
17 is where Darien will take over. A little over 3 minutes left in this third quarter. You are watching the DAF Media Network, a joint venture of the Darien Athletic Foundation and the Darien Foundation. Braden Shank and Michael Mercine with you. So glad you could be with us spending your Friday night, wherever you may be in the DAF Media Network. Dahl hands it off to Wilson, and it looks like it got stuck to Simeon. But
yeah, I'm not sure if Dahl wanted to keep the ball there. I don't know enough of Darien's playbook to tell you whether or not they run many RPOs. But it looks like there was a run block going on there, so I don't know why Dahl got stuck. Maybe Wilson had Dahl's hands, wrapped around when he's got the cage on the ball.
It's definitely plausible, but nonetheless, it will be 2nd and 8 for the Wave on the 20-yard line. Low snap, Dahl fields it, drops back, throws this one, and right off of Picorni. It's actually McMullen, rather, my apologies. It was a good bullet pass to McMullen. He just couldn't haul it in.
Yeah, that's the second pass that we've seen, I think, in a row from Darien that has been dropped. And if you're Dahl, that's going to be frustrating. It's going to make him want to roll out and run more if he feels like he's getting drops by his receivers.
3rd and 8, Darien looking to get something to get the chains moving. Have not done all that much of that this half. I don't think they've had a single first down in this half.
No, they have not. I mean, neither has Maloney. Maloney had one.
Well, they had the throw down to Ward or to Kelly, my apologies, down to the 2 as a first down. As Dahl's going to scramble.
Speaking of Simeon on the ground.
Throws this one, looks like over the Maloney bench.
Yeah, it looked like he was targeting the one receiver downfield. I can't actually see his number from here. But I'm unsure if that was meant to be thrown out or if that was meant to be like a little check pass basically for 8 yards, but not really a check pass, but lane. I believe that was out of bounds.
Well, nonetheless, it is out of bounds. Doug Somerville coming back out for his third punt of the third quarter. Maybe the 4th. I lost track.
Yeah, well, either way, he's been nailing it.
Doug Somerville with the punt.
Low punt this time, but
it's going to take a favorable bounce. Flag has been thrown. Gonzalez feels it at the 45. Gonzalez now, he is off to the races. Up the middle with it. Josiah Gonzalez is up and will be taken down at the 1-yard line, they call it.
That was a really good, that was a great run. But watch, if we get to replay this, watch Austin Enner. Not the guy you'd expect to see speed, but he comes up on Gonzalez. He comes straight out of nowhere and comes up on Gonzalez and manages to make that stop. Beautiful, beautiful play by Enner.
There is a flag, so we will watch that. But nonetheless, Josiah Gonzalez using the speed to take it up to the 1-yard line.
A set of IKEA car keys, probably in the
IKEA car keys?
I don't think I've ever heard of IKEA car keys.
They make furniture, right?
Yeah, it's probably car keys with an IKEA tag on them or something like that.
Maybe. If you didn't just hear that, the PA announcer, Anthony Sweeney, signaling for someone in the crowd for IKEA car keys.
Definitely, big crowd, you're going to have a lot of strange things lost tonight.
Maybe you got to build your car in like a Swedish instruction manual, I have no clue what it is. You're just going off the little pictures.
Yep.
Nonetheless, Maloney taking over on the 1-yard line. Hands this one off to Boganski, trying to dive, and he will be short. For a loss of 1, Darien piling on. You take another look at it. They try to go to Boganski. He goes high. A great low hit from that player on the far side, Leighton Reeser.
Like I said, Reeser has been and needs to be instrumental in stopping the run and stopping any type of run as well and bringing pressure, and he's been doing that. And this extra yard we said, Boganski's been good for 1 or 2 yards. So this extra yard actually gives Darien a little bit of breathing room.
Off to Boganski. He is trying to get through the pile. He is snubbed. Trying to push the pile now and will be stopped at the 2-yard line. This Darien goal line defense has so far not given up anything.
A lot of fight from both sides here. You have a lot of good pushing. Maloney does have big offensive linemen, but Darien has a bigger defense, and they managed to win in the pile there.
Darien student section on their feet now, 3rd and 1. Maloney looking to get something, not come up short.
You have to assume if Maloney comes up short here, they go for it on 4th down, right?
Well, we'll see if they have to deal with that, though, because it would be interesting. Cowbells ringing. Valentine in the backfield has Boganski. Hands it off to Boganski. He's going to go to the far side and be wide open for the score. Josh Boganski rushes it in, and Maloney takes a 2-score lead.
Yeah, I really like that play call by Maloney. You know, this whole game they've been showing the same thing. They've been showing inside run by Bagansky, inside run by Bagansky, inside run by Bagansky. And so with Bagansky getting stopped twice on the last 2 plays, they make it look like they're going to go for an inside run, and they get Bagansky right around the edge. That was a really good call by the Maloney offense.
Josh Boganski, they realized he was stopped twice trying to go up the middle. They go to the far side, and they get the touchdown on it. Scaramuzzo with the PAT, and the Spartans go up 21-7 with 45 seconds left in the third quarter.
Yeah, and Darien's in familiar territory, down 2 scores in the fourth quarter. As you said, Darien hasn't scored in the second half, and it looks like they're having trouble getting offense going in the third quarter. Let's see if they can sort of think back to St. Joe's and think back to what they might have done wrong there and make even more adjustments and hopefully get 2 scores in this last quarter.
It definitely is possible. Again, Darien has not scored in second half play in the first 2 games. They're going to look to rewrite that, and Maloney puts up the 14 spot, if you will, in the third quarter. As Darien will now try the offense once again with a couple seconds left to tick off. In the third quarter, that is.
Yeah, if you're Darien, especially if you're Wilson, you're going to hope that you can get another one of those long runs that will give an opportunity to Darien to sort of make a shorter march down the field and score.
So that's Scaramuzzo. He'll set the ball up, huddle up his squad. Up by 14, the Spartans. Again, this was a game nobody knew much about coming in. These teams have never met before. The first ever meeting. They've played in 2 separate classes for the past 20 years or so. And it was really, we knew it was going to be a dogfight. We just didn't know which side it would go in favor of. And Maloney's really so far been a top dog.
Yeah, but again, I mean, I agree. And Maloney's been a top dog on small mistakes. A good punt return, a really good throw. We knew Maloney would be the sort of the spark plug offense, but it's been really close. And there's another mistake by the kickoff.
Great heads-up play by Jake Wilson. Saw that ball was trickling around with the out-of-bounds line. Lets it take the bounce, and will pick up the yards on the penalty.
I would say that's a great call, except for, you know, Wilson has shown that he can run further than the 35-yard line. I think it's good to play safe. As I've been saying, Darien needs to not try to be the heroes right now. They need to just go back to fundamentals, what they're best at. But Wilson, it's interesting that Wilson decided to let the ball roll out than to trust himself to get more than just those 35 yards.
Again, it's a heads-up play by a senior veteran right there. Played wide receiver last year, second year starting. He knows the game. He knows the team.
Absolutely.
And now Darien will take over on the 35-yard line. Dahl on the shotgun with Wilson to his left. Hands it off to Wilson. And Jake will power through for a gain of 3. Darien still just looking for a first down. I don't think they've had in this third quarter.
No, they have not. And, you know, you really don't want to go a whole quarter without a first down. So with the last 30 seconds, Darien's definitely looking to get something going. But if they keep running Wilson up the middle like that, I don't know how much they're going to be able to do.
Wilson, the almost identical play on that one for no gain, 3rd and 8. Big stop by Rafael Rodriguez. He's been having a nice game for this Maloney defensive line.
Yeah, he has. And he's been really instrumental in stopping Wilson's run, especially when he comes up the middle. I mean, Darien hasn't had much. Well, I've said Bagansky's been having trouble up the middle, but so is Wilson. And now Dahl back to pass.
Time runs out. Dahl over the middle. He finds McMullen. McMullen taking down a big hit from number 10, Martell. But Isaac McMullen will pick up the first down at the 50-yard line, and that is where we will leave it. After 3 quarters of play, Maloney with the 21-7 lead. We're now going to send you down to the field with Cameron McGraw with more on this game so far.
Hey guys, want to give a shout out to our Darien student section today. It's a blackout here at Darien. All of the Darien student section still here, still ready, hoping for a comeback. Darien down 21-7, entering the fourth quarter. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Cam, and a great shot by our director, Eric Bellingham, right there to bring you that. I'm going to give another shout out to our amazing DAF Media production crew while I'm at it. Jason Bellingham, Eric Bellingham, Luke Zerby, Liam Tomaszewski, Teddy Callery, and our advisor, Damian Andrew. We're going to step aside when we return the fourth quarter between Darien and Maloney. Quick restart for Darien, and the rush for no gain on it. I got to give a shout out to the last crew member I completely forgot about, and he's been doing a fabulous job this entire stream on the instant replay. Connor Russo got his wisdom teeth taken out this morning, powering through the pain, coming out, doing the replay tonight, and it's really just been a heart of this broadcast tonight.
Yeah, that's dedication. He's been looking great on replay, and replays in these third quarter where he just started have looked really, really solid.
Simeon Dahl, Wilson in the backfield. Hands this one off to Wilson. Jake Wilson has some room up the middle, and he will pick up a gain of 12. Jake Wilson breaking free for a big gain.
Yeah, Wilson shows he's so fast. That's all I can say. When he gets really good block, he gets a good block, a good hole by this Darien offensive line, and he can find open space. That's where he shines.
And now once again going to Wilson, and he is taken down immediately. Number 80, Brandon Borick with the stop. Borick, a junior on the bigger side. He's been a big player to watch for this Maloney defense as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He doesn't look like a junior, that's for sure, especially when you look at him compared to the rest of his teammates. You know, Maloney generally a small team, but Borick is a big guy, and he's good at making a difference.
Well, that's the thing. Maloney lost some key players to graduation. Of course, their quarterback, 3-year starter, Angel Arch. They lost Michael Reddick, a linebacker, then the big defensive back, Rashawn Shelton, that they've been trying to recover from. But Borick, Stedford, even Rodriguez have all been playing their part. This one completed to Picorni. Brady Picorni spins his way for the first down. Or it's going to be close, might just be short. And they're going to give it to him. So Brady Picorni with the first down, the future Fighting Irish.
Showing a good little spin move. I mean, I'm sure he's practiced that. Spin move's good in every sport that Picorni plays, right?
The only difference is he just didn't have to flick a lacrosse stick behind his back and beat a goaltender.
But he had a hole on the ball, and similar.
As now Wilson will rush it to the 25-yard line.
I think there was a gain there, yeah. Oh.
I think, yeah, he picked up about 1 or 2. And if you're Maloney, you're just going to let that clock tick off. 14-point lead. Darien, you got to score, though.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the one thing that Darien has going for it is if the ball gets back to Maloney, Maloney has to run the ball, and Darien's been really good in locking down Maloney's run game. So either they're going to have to pass and leave Darien a lot of time, or run and allow Darien to possibly get a 3 and out.
Howard Stedford with another big tackle for no gain. You take another look at it, 74 on your near side. Stedford just stopping Wilson in his tracks.
Darien's been finding himself in a lot of 3rd and longs now. I believe the scoreboard says 2nd and 8, but it should be 3rd and 8.
Oh, there we go.
3rd and 7. There we go.
I think you're smarter than the scoreboard, don't you?
I saw the thing on the far side.
3rd and 7 for Darien. Dahl and Wilson in the backfield. Twin receivers on the play. Dahl now throws this one, and Picorni will pull it in.
Catch.
Brady Picorni reaching it up, and Darien finds themselves in the red zone.
That was a very, very good throw. Watch Dahl. He stands, and he's just steadfast. He trusts his line to make the big blocks, and he throws that ball really good footing, and he gets it right into Picorni's hands.
You got to give Dahl credit on that one. He stayed so calm with Stedford hot on his tail and found Picorni. As now Wilson will rush it and will be taken now by number 5, Zakai Moore.
Darien's got fight, that's for sure. You see Wilson, good change of direction. He's been getting stuck up the middle, and so he changes and gets around the edge and tries to get a few extra yards, and it looks like he did.
2nd and 4, Darien. They're looking to capitalize and cut this down to a 1-score game. But that was a big haul in from Brady Picorni right when Darien needed it most.
Oh, absolutely. And a great play by Dahl, great play by Picorni, just finding the spot right between that Maloney secondary.
Throws it to the end zone, looking for Picorni. Incomplete, no flag on it.
A lot of people looking for a penalty. And if we see that again, let's see how close Maloney gets. Oh, yeah.
You can't hold his jersey like that.
No, absolutely not. That's one that, you know, a lot of people in Darien saw pretty clearly, and they want that call, but it seems like the ref either didn't see it or he wants to just let them play.
3rd and 4 now. Darien will need to try again after that. All will have Wilson and Shelton in the backfield. Hands it off to Jake Wilson, and Moore is right there to stop him. Zakai Moore and Josiah Gonzalez. And they're going to keep the offense I think, on the field right now for 4th and 5.
You have to. I mean, I trust Tucker Stevens, but you can't go with 3 points because it's still a 2-possession game. And so Darien has to do what they've done really well and go for a 5-yard gain. And they've been really good at 5-yard gains. It just happens now that the field is short.
A making or breaking point for Darien right now. 4th and goal. Dahl drops back, rolls to the far side, throws this one in the end zone, and it's incomplete. Maloney prevails on it, and a turnover on down. This gives the ball right back to the Spartans. You take another look at it. Dahl was looking for that corner, and it hit off the hands of number 2, Dante Kelly.
That was, you know what I'm going to say, though? That was a really good pass by Dahl, all things considered. He's running, he's throwing basically across his body as a lefty. It's really hard. And that was close to Johnson, but because of the pressure of the secondary, he couldn't come in and he couldn't make that catch.
So on the bright side for Darien, Maloney's not out of this. They're on the 5-yard line, so if the defense can blitz, get some loss of yards, maybe a safety will get the ball right back, but that's...
Yeah, and like we've been saying, Maloney's been relying on the run game, and it hasn't been working, and right there, stopped, looks like for a loss of 1. And so Maloney's either going to have to pass and give Darien more time, or risk a 3-and-out on their own 4-yard line, which really isn't inopportune.
So it will be 2nd and 9 at the 6-yard line or 7-yard line. Maloney trying to keep the clock running. 7 minutes left to play. Maloney with the 14-point lead over Darien. Spartans have a road stretch coming up that you would like to see that. You'd like to assume they would like to get a win here today before heading into that, as Boganski will
absolutely
spin his way up to the 9-yard line. But Maloney, they will play Hull at home next week, now the Titans. But then after that, they go to Newington, a bye, to Bristol Central, and then to Conard before they return home in November for their next home game.
That's a similar road stretch to Darien.
But the difference, actually, you are right. Darien goes to Fairfield Ward, the bye at Wilton, Fairfield Ludlow, then they return a week earlier to play Greenwich.
So yeah, both team, Darien having their sort of last home send-off, and Maloney, other than the home game next week, they're going to have a similar run.
Valentine throws this one downfield, and it is caught. Brady Picorni holds it in at the 20. Picorni will take it in the red zone. The wide receiver, Brady Picorni, making the big play on the defense. And Darien has some life left in him.
Yeah, I mean, after that pass interference call, Picorni's got to feel like something's been made right. And he gets that really, really clutch interception, puts Darien not only in the red zone, but also in the red zone with a chance to get a first down. And so Darien has a lot of downs to only go 15 yards. And they're going to see if they can do it right now.
We mentioned that Maloney was not out of it untouched. They were in dangerous territory, playing a very tricky game, and they could not get out of it. Brady Picorni with the interception. And now Darien's offense is looking to convert. Interception number 2 for the Blue Wave on the season. Dahl drops back, rolling to the near side. Dahl throwing for the end zone and just high of Will Johnson. That's the second time in a row he's been looking for Will Johnson.
I mean, you said it yourself. Will Johnson is kind of the automatic, not the automatic first down, but he's a very solid first down receiver. And when you're so close to the end zone, a first down usually is going to be a touchdown.
Well, you do have 5 more yards to go in this situation.
Well, yeah, but 5 yards, Johnson can, he's shown that he can sort of make up that 5 yards. He's a little shifty once he gets the ball. And so even if somebody wraps him up, he might be able to reach for the end zone.
He definitely could. He's got that aggressiveness in him.
Yeah.
As it will be 2nd and 10 on the 15-yard line. A golden opportunity for the Blue Wave, trailing 14 with 5 minutes and 54 seconds left to play.
Yeah, this is when you start to think, this is make or break for Darien.
Flag is thrown. The play clock hit 0. Another delay of game on Darien, and that will set him back a couple yards.
I don't like to use the word inexcusable, but I don't really understand how Darien has had 2 delay of game, maybe 3 delay of game penalties, as well as 1 timeout already burned to stop a delay of game. There's clearly some miscommunication that's going on, and with being in crunch time, you can't have that miscommunication, especially with home field advantage.
You can, and that's a good point you brought up. The penalties have been killing Darien, especially those silly penalties, as Picorni will go in motion. The flip to Picorni, the ball is loose, it's a fumble, and it's recovered by the Spartans. The jet sweep does not work, and the Spartans come up with a big turnover. You take another look at it, number 50, Rafael Rodriguez, pouncing on that ball.
What's that, the third fumble of the day for Darien? I mean, after two, you'd expect at least one to go Maloney's way. And so, you know, it looks like, especially after the really, really nice interception, Darien's luck has sort of run out. Not run out, but Maloney's gotten the fumble when the last 2 times they were lucky. Darien was lucky enough to recover the fumble themselves.
Rafael Rodriguez pretty much bails out the offense with that interception because things were not looking great, even though they do still have the 2-score lead as Boganski's going to rush this one for a gain of 2. You know Boganski's going to be getting a lot of work here in these next 5.5 minutes or so. Just a matter of can Darien get a big stop or not.
Yeah, and this is where, you know, as I said, Barber, Reeser, the rest of the defensive line and the rest of the linebackers are going to need to shine. They're going to need to show exactly the type of run defense that they've been showing all game, and they need to stop Boganski, because if they can, then hopefully we can get Darien can get a 3 and out, and they can drive back down the field and give themselves enough time for a second drive.
Boganski's going to rush this one, pick up some yards, dive, and he will be just short, but he is across the 30. Josh Boganski, again, another rush, beats a couple defenders before he's eventually taken down by number 9, Mac McGarren.
Yeah, it definitely helps that Boganski had some really good blocking there, and he was able to find a hole. He hasn't been finding holes, and that's because Darien's defensive line has been pushing really, really hard on Maloney's offense, and now Maloney, they seem to have some life, and they're pushing back.
They are indeed in 3rd and 1. Handoff to Boganski, going to that far side. Boganski breaks free. He is still up, takes it across the 40. First down for the Spartans.
This is some really good play calling by Maloney. You know, you see 3rd and 1, and you see a running back like Boganski who's very good at short yardage. You expect another run right up the middle. And again, Boganski gets the ball on a sweep. He gets the outside, and he gets more yards than Darien wanted to give him.
So the ball will now be on the 34-yard line. Darien, 2 timeouts still left, but they are trailing 2 scores. Michael Mercine, 14-point deficit. If it was 1 score, I feel like this would be a much different atmosphere rather than Darien needs to make some stops and score not once, but twice.
Yeah, there's definitely been an atmosphere change, and you can hear the students are actually a little more subdued, and helmets are off on the Darien sideline. But the game's not over yet. There's still about 4 minutes left to play, and as we've just seen, turnovers can happen.
That was Highsmith on the carry.
Number 25. Trying to figure that out. We've been saying Logan Kicklighter because that's what the SEAC roster appears to have. PA announcer Highsmith is what they are saying.
Down 2.
So we apologize if we might be mispronouncing that name again. We are going off the CIAC roster online. And it has number 25, Logan Kicklighter, the sophomore.
I don't know if necessarily mispronouncing is the word you want to use, because I don't know if you can mispronounce Kicklighter to Highsmith. I think it's just two different names.
Yeah, and a misidentification.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather.
There you go.
Yeah, the information we have, Kicklighter, but we apologize if that is Highsmith. Nonetheless, though, Maloney will have the 2nd and 2 on the 48-yard line. They brought it across the midfields. And what do you think is going through Darien's players' heads right now?
This is it. I mean, I've said make or break a few times, but every time in a make or break situation, every time you break, you sort of tell yourself that there's another make or break around the corner. And so regardless of whether or not it's true, Darien knows and thinks that this is where they need to make a stop. And they could still make a stop here and hopefully reverse their fortunes.
Brennan with the tackle of Kicklighter.
Really good job going right through the lane and just piercing the offensive line and getting that stop in the backfield. This is probably Darien's best stop or best chance to stop Maloney on 3rd down.
So Darien will take their final timeout on 3rd and 4. So, oh no, it's not a timeout. You're shaking your head over there.
No, I'm shaking my head because I think, in all honesty, use your final
timeout.
No, it was a timeout. Yeah. Shaking my head because it's an interesting call to use your final timeout with 3 minutes 19 left, and only with 3 minutes 19 left, and 2 whole drives to complete to win this game. Darien's already burned at least 1, if not 2 timeouts due to miscommunication when it comes to the play call, and that's also forced penalties. It's caused Darien to lose yards, and those little things, they add up. The first half was defined by Maloney mistakes, and Darien has just made a lot of mistakes in the second half.
We see a stoppage. They're going to put 3 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock, so a couple extra seconds ticked off. Darien will get 11 seconds added back on. 3rd and 4 for the Spartans. That's what I believe was Darien's final timeout.
Looks like they have one left. I think it might have been their second. Even then, only one timeout.
No, it definitely would have been their 3rd.
When was their second timeout?
They called the second one the play before. Nonetheless, kick lighter, or not kick lighter, wow. In motion is number 80, Borak. Valentine will hand it off to kick lighter, taken down for a loss of 5.
That's what you want to see out of Reeser. He's the reason he was my player to watch, right? He has that explosive ability. It looks like my PA announcer said, Brennan, I thought I saw number 7 on that tackle. We'll see that again. But either way, I mean, Brennan and Reeser are very similar players, both very good at piercing the backfield and making the tackle for a loss.
It was
I was wrong. It was J.D. Brennan.
Maloney now on the 45-yard line. They will let the clock tick off in the next 15 seconds or so on the play clock. Darien out of timeout, so they're going to need to move in a efficient offense. That is after the punt from Mark Whittington.
Really high punt.
That snap. Whittington forced to retreat on it. He will just take the knee at the 16-yard line. Chaos for the Spartans once again, and Darien has something in him.
Watch Darien run out. Looks like a flag is down, I believe. I'd assume so late after the play for some sort of unsportsmanlike conduct. But watch as Darien's offense ran out, and they came out fast. They know that this is their opportunity. Like I said, turnovers, mistakes. That's a mistake Maloney cannot make with the Darien offense that clearly has something to prove.
And how about, I'm sorry to cut you off there, how about this for another uncaused error, an unsportsmanlike conduct on Maloney?
Yeah, I don't even know how you do that. How do you lose a punt and then still get unsportsmanlike conduct? I feel like you'd be too busy hanging your head in shame, right?
Darien's got a chance here, but they need an efficient drive right here.
I mean, they only have 3 downs to do it, and that sort of almost does Darien a favor because they need to rush, and the downs tell them that too.
Dole now going to roll to the far side. 1st and goal. Dole throwing in the end zone, and out of play, was looking for Will Johnson. So it will be 2nd and goal, but Darien, you got to assume they're looking for the pass here, because if you rush it, that clock's going to keep ticking. So Dole's going to have to look for his receivers to get open and break this bulletproof Maloney defense.
But the good thing about Maloney looking for the pass means that Dahl might be able to be mobile. I mean, it's really hard to be mobile when the end zone's only 10 yards. That lets the secondary come up and stop a quarterback rush pretty quickly. However, Dahl's going to have a little bit more room to work with. And he could potentially show how good of a running quarterback he was in the first quarter.
2nd and 10. Dahl's going to scramble with it. He's going to take it himself, rushing, being met up with Borak, and taken down at the 5-yard line. So he picks up 3, but it's now 3rd and 5.
Down to the 5-yard line.
No 2-minute warning, so Darien will not get bailed out with that, but their offense is going to stay moving efficiently.
Yeah, this is do or die.
Dahl rolling to the far side. He's going to take it himself, rushing, and stopped at the 1-yard line. 3 Maloney players pushing him back. The big one, number 25, Logan Kicklighter.
Dahl looks slow to get up there, too. Looks like he's limping. I don't believe that's going to stop the clock, though, and so Darien's losing time.
They're going to call it off. Simeon is going to take the stoppage right there, but it will be 4th and goal. This is a drive that had Darien written all over it. 1st and 9 at the 9-yard line. And they just have not been able to convert on these close red zone opportunities.
No. Maloney has made so many mistakes in this game. A lot of penalties, more than one unsportsmanlike conduct, turnovers. Darien hasn't been able to capitalize. Where on the other side, Darien has also made a few mistakes. You have, the fumble, you have an interception, and in those cases, Maloney has been able to capitalize on those errors. And so it just shows that, Maloney, this is why they're up by 2 scores.
Declan Cunningham on for quarterback. He's going to hand it off to Wilson. Wilson dives, and he is short at the 1. Maloney makes the stop, and that is the seal on this game.
Yeah, unless Darien can force a fumble 6, I don't think they have much chance here, unfortunately.
This Maloney defense, number 5, Zakai Moore, putting the pressure on, stops Wilson at the 2-yard line. And now Maloney will have 90 seconds to kill before they will potentially be walking out of Darien High School with a win.
Yeah, and you can hear it's just kind of quiet now. The energy's sort of gone. It seems like people are making their way for the gates, but
First and 10, ball on the
it's
field.
sort of what you have to expect when you fail to convert on the goal line twice. Darien had 2 opportunities to score here. 2 opportunities to score in a 2-score game, and they couldn't make it happen.
This one now, and they're going to take him back for the safety. So Darien picks up the 2 points. They're not done yet.
Safety.
A big safety by number 7, I believe, Leighton Reeser.
If you're Maloney, actually, I kind of think you wanted that safety to happen, because now you get the opportunity to send the ball all the way down to the other side of the field. This means Darien is going to either have to have an incredibly long pass and not very long for a second score, and it's also still a 2-possession game. So actually that safety seems to have gone Maloney's way, and now Darien's going to hope for a miracle on special teams to try to turn over and get a win.
That is a very good point to your credit right there. It's worse than if you fumble it potentially and
Yeah,
give up
exactly.
the 6. So a smart play from head coach Kevin Frederick and the Maloney Spartans. You're taking a look at the back of us right here.
Yeah.
Not really that good looking from the back.
Yeah, I know. I've been told.
Yeah. It's a weird comment to make. Minute 26 left. Maloney will punt it away after the safety, making it 21-9. Again, it is still a 2-point score, so unless Darien can potentially bring this one back to the house. Actually, can you tee it up after the safety?
What do you mean? It looks like they are. I mean, I thought it was a punt.
I thought it was a punt as well.
But that might be an FCAC rule. And looks like Darien's lining up a lot of players on the 30 to potentially block the kick.
Well, you know it's going to be a low-lining kick to get the clock ticking.
Oh, absolutely. But, you know, Darien has some fast players, some fast returners back there. And, you know, we saw Wilson's proficiency on the punt return. So let's see what they can do now.
High kickoff. Fielded at the 35-yard line. Here's Jake Wilson using the speed. He will be taken down at the 37. A good tackle by Vasquez. And Darien has got one last chance for something.
I think right now you run posts, you throw as many players as you can downfield and hope something sticks at this point. Darien just needs a miracle.
Again, they've had the red zone opportunities. They just have not been able to convert on them.
Exactly.
And you can't win a game when you are at the 9-yard line. And twice you can't win like that when you just can't score.
I mean, Maloney and Darien on paper have had the same amount of goal line opportunities. Maloney has scored only once on the goal line, but they still scored more than Darien on the goal line.
All having time. He's going to throw this one over to Jake Wilson. Wilson's going to try to use his speed on the near side. Jake Wilson will dive up to the 45-yard line. The clock will keep on running.
Interesting call for Wilson. I think he thought he could have pushed through that Maloney defender and gotten more yards, but instead he's brought down inbounds, kind of slowing the clock even further.
And this one incomplete. But if you're Darien, it's clock stops at least.
Yeah.
2nd and 3. So what is at stake right here? If the score holds and Darien loses the game, this will be the first time since 2012 that Darien will lose a home non-Turkey Bowl game. That was when the Staples Wreckers came into town and took down the Wave. One of the last 44 home non-Turkey Bowl games here at Darien High School.
I think it definitely puts a big chip on Darien
downfield. And it's intercepted through the hands of McMullen, and Jesus Martel with the interception. And Maloney has this one sealed.
Absolutely. That just gives Maloney the chance to, they're probably going to line up in victory formation and end this game.
Jesus Martel off the hands of McMullen dives for the interception that happened last week at Simsbury. That interception to end it. And now the small but faithful Maloney student section gets on their feet.
Yeah, they're moving. They've got their flashlights going. And it looks like that flash mob's still going. I don't know if that's just a Meriden thing, but they're dancing. They're having a great time, and it is definitely not the case on the Darien sideline.
I give them a lot of credit. 54 miles,
Yeah.
an hour, without even traffic.
Yeah.
And they came out, showed, represented, and the Spartans have themselves a potential Week 3 win. And Valentine will take the knee, and that will seal it. The Maloney Spartans will take down the Darien Blue Wave by the final score of 21-9. The state champion versus state champion battle goes in favor of the boys in white and green.
Yeah, and if you're Darien, that's got to hurt. I mean, speaking to a lot of Darien players, they felt like, you know, Maloney was a game that they definitely could win, but it was also an indicator of the next few phases of their season. And so losing this game is really big for Darien because it tells them a few things. First of all, the way they lost tells them they were having trouble capitalizing on big errors. Also, tells Darien they need to play hard, and they're going to have a chip on the shoulder for the rest of their season. They're going to have to prove that, sure, they've lost the first 2 games. Sure, they've lost the first non-Turkey Bowl home game in 44 games. But they are going to be playing every day now from here until the Turkey Bowl, until the state playoffs. They're going to be playing to prove that these mistakes that they made early in the season were just that, mistakes. They know they're a better team than this. They know they're a bigger team than this. And so they're going to come back each day. They're going to work harder. They're going to work stronger. And I don't doubt that in the moment it's really dejecting, but they're going to use this to fuel themselves to get even better.
So next week, the Blue Wave travels to Fairfield Ward. They will take on the Mustangs, who are currently 2-0 on the season. What is Darien going to work on in practices besides the goal line offense, but what else are they going to work on going into playing the Mustangs?
I think communication. I mean, we have a really good sound system here, and I wouldn't be surprised if Darien tries to sort of mimic this loud environment, this confusing environment, because clearly there was some sort of communication issue. Darien was killed by delay of game at the end of the game, and so Darien needs to work on minimizing delay of game, and whether or not that comes from the coaching staff working. Apologies, the coaching staff working with the players to fix calls, or whether or not that comes from the players reading and learning the playbook better and getting a better understanding of what's being called. Who knows?
So Maloney, this will be their 15th consecutive win dating back to last season. They'll have one happy bus ride back up to Meriden, Connecticut. They are 3-0 on the season. We'll take on the Hall Titans next week at home. As for Darien, they dropped to 1-2. A rare oddity for Darien to be under 500. They will look to set their sights against Fairfield Ward next week. Maloney takes this one 21-9. I'm going to give one final shout out to our amazing DAF Media production crew, doing a fabulous job bringing you all the sights and sounds in this one. And actually, before we do that, we're going to send you down to the field with Cameron McGraw with his final takes on this one.
Hey guys, a tough loss here for Darien. Final score is 21-9. Darien starts the season going 1-2, 1 loss and 2 losses. The last time Darien started the season 1-2 was over a decade ago, in 2009. But that same team, 1-2, actually had a 6-game win streak, going 7-2 before losing to New Canaan. So still hope for this young Darien team. They lost the first game against St. Joe's, had a bounce-back win against Bridgeport Central. Lost here today against Maloney. Let's see if they could bounce back next week to move to 2-2. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much for that, Cam. I mean, for as much as I love the stats, I'm not even sure if I knew that. So thank you, Cameron, for that. Now I'm going to give one final shout-out to our production crew, doing a great job bringing the sights and sounds in this one. Eric Bellingham, Jason Bellingham, Luke Zerby, Liam Tomaszewski, Teddy Callery, Connor Russo, Cam McGraw doing a fabulous job on the sidelines, giving you all the insight on that. Our advisor, Damian Andrew. So for all of them, Michael Mercian joined alongside me, saying good night from Darien High School. Again, your final score, Maloney 21, Darien 9. This has been a production of the DAF Media Network, a joint venture of the Darien Athletic Foundation and the Darien Foundation. I've been Braden Shank. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.